It has been an absolutely crazy past couple of weeks while we've been away. The United States has effectively taken over Venezuela, but the big news now is that gunfire is being reported, reports of explosions, and there is deep concern that the U.S. intervention removing Maduro will destabilize the country. There's a lot of fake videos circulating claiming Venezuelans are celebrating. I do think personally Venezuela's better off without their tin pot communist dictator, as he's being referred to, but there's a bigger conversation about what this means for America, and there's a lot of pros, there's a lot of cons. We're going to talk about that, but we are choosing to lead tonight with the attack on J.D. Vance's home, because this is not an accident. This was a targeted attack on the home of the vice president, a man who is transgender, who's the child of big Democrat donors, or of Democrat donors, let's try and lighten the language, took a hammer and started smashing up the front of his house. They think it was a break-in. Initial reports were of shots fired, but that could have just been that people heard the glass break. So it's still absolutely crazy the VP was targeted in this way. And considering what we experienced in the past month, you'll also notice we're in a totally different building right now, different studio. There is very serious concerns about the escalation of violence. So along with that being a massive story, again, I think the biggest story in the world right now is Venezuela, potential destabilization, what this means. Maduro has pleaded not guilty, and the stock market in Venezuela is skyrocketing with news that the socialist has been removed. So we're going to talk about that and a whole lot more, my friends. Before we do, we got a great sponsor for you. It is PDS Debt. Head over to pds.com/Tim. Use promo code Tim. Whether you're struggling with credit cards, potential personal loans, or medical bills, PDS Debt has custom options to help you get out of debt. They go beyond the numbers to understand your unique financial situation and craft a personal. You took the camera off me. Anyway, they go beyond the numbers to understand your unique financial situation and craft a personalized plan designed just for you. There's no minimum credit score required. They're here to help you save more, pay off your debt faster, and start putting money back where it belongs, in your pocket. PDS Debt is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, boasts thousands of 5-star reviews on Google, and holds a 5-star rating on Trustpilot. Why? Because PDS has helped hundreds of thousands of people get out of debt. Every month you wait costs you more in interest and fees. The best time to start was yesterday. The second best time is right now. Don't wait another month. Take back control in 30 seconds. Get your free personalized assessment and the best option for you at pdsdebt.com/Tim. That's pdsdebt.com/Tim. Shout out PDS Debt. Thanks for sponsoring the show. We really do appreciate it. But wait, there's more. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now rolling out the next iteration of the Boonies Pro Board models. This is the Mercenary Collection. Oh, I'm sorry, it's called the Blueprint Collection. I thought it was called the Mercenaries Collection, but Blueprint is good as well. Check this out. You've got, right here, you got a hand grenade, but there are 5 limited edition golden hand grenade boards. You've got the 50 caliber anti-material rifle blueprint board. You've got the Jason Ellis battle axe with 5 golden limited edition, and the Colt 45 Cody Mack with a gold limited edition. And my personal favorite, the Richie Jackson assault wine bottle. It's literally a shattered wine bottle as his blueprint weapon, and there is a golden version. Of course, we also recently rolled out, as I said we were going to before the break, step on Sneck and find out new limited edition boards. There are 200 of these, and there are 10 golden serialized versions that you can get when you order. Now, of these Blueprint Collection boards, there's only, I believe, 50 of each and 5 golden serialized versions. So head over to boonieshq.com, get in the store, link in the description below. Pick up your Boonies boards today because we sold out of all of the Animal series, which we launched back in November. We sold them all out in 2 hours. So shout out, you guys rock. Thank you for supporting the work we do with Boonies, skateboards, and all that good stuff. Check it out. Smash the like button. Share the show with everyone you know. Joining us tonight to talk about this and so much more, we've got Lance Videos.
Hey, so basically I do the Fearless Tour with Cam Higbee. You guys might have heard of him. His videos have been on the show before. I go to riots, I cover riots. We do the debate tour, so that's just all around the United States. And
get up on the mic.
Oh, get up on the mic.
Yeah,
my bad.
Get
out. All right. Yeah. We do a lot of fun stuff. A lot of violence has happened to us in the past couple months. Yeah, it's not fun, of course. It's a bunch of leftist violence, and it's been a great time. So you can check us out on the Fearless Debates Tour on Instagram and me and Lance Videos on all platforms.
Right on. Ian's here.
Yeah, hey everyone, welcome back from the holiday, man. What a couple of weeks this has been. I'm happy to be here. I got a lot of sun today. Did some wild, excellent stretches last night before bed. About 20 minutes of deep stretching. Breathe through the pain, Tate. Breathe through the pain.
Okay.
Tate Brown.
Hello, guys. Tate Brown here, holding it down. I am breathing through the pain as well. Yeah, I'm loving Florida. I get down at this. I was at the beach like all afternoon.
Like it's great. Your hat.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I saw in the mirror before I still have sand on the hat. So it's kind of adding to the aesthetic. I really want to build the ambiance, the immersion with the audience. But happy to be here.
Hello, everybody. My name's Phil Levante. I'm the lead singer of the heavy metal band All That Remains. I'm an anti-communist and a counter-revolutionary. Let's get into it.
And there's a big, beautiful, lit up.
Yeah. I want
Sign.
the wide shot. Do we have a wide shot?
No.
Oh, it looks nice.
No white shot today.
We'll
Can
get a
you see
rumble.
it?
It says
Rumble
Rumble
shot.
on it.
It does.
We are in this
Beautiful.
very beautiful studio, and the cameras and lighting is absolutely fantastic. And we have monitors. How cool is that? Very professional. Let's talk about news, though, my friends. This is a crazy story. We've got some post-millennial. Man arrested for attempted break-in of J.D. Vance's Ohio home, identifies as trans. Father is a Democrat donor. Facebook profile shows a picture of DeFore, but with the name Julia and the pronouns she, her. So for those that didn't see the story, we got breaking news early in the morning that there were shots fired at the home of Vice President J.D. Vance, which were later clarified to be an attempted break-in. This individual apparently, according to the story, took a hammer and was smashing up the windows. Now, here's the thing. This road has been closed. This is the VP's house, right? I remember back in Chicago when Obama lived in Hyde Park, everybody knew where Obama lived, and the cops were always out there because crazy people will do crazy things. So now, we had a discussion before the show, as we always do, on what's the more pressing story, what needs to be talked about. Venezuela's foreign policy stuff, and it's a massive story, but it's very esoteric. My view is kind of like we're experiencing, both from a personal and professional and cultural perspective, an increase in escalation of violence threatening the structures of this country that I think if you go to a regular person, actually, you know what? I'm going to put it like this. I was at the poker tables the other day. Check it out. This great poker room called One-Eyed Jack's Poker Room in Sarasota. Shout out. And really fun. And a couple of the guys that were playing there were just like, what's Venezuela? Like, I don't know what's going on. And I'm like, really? And so the issue for me with this is, we of course were personally affected by the violence with the shooting we had in the past month. Hence, we're not at the studio. We're working on solving these problems. And then the first day back, I'm coming in the morning and I'm thinking, I'm going to pull up some Venezuela stuff and talk about Maduro and intervention, of which I tons of opinions about. And then I see breaking news, J.D. Vance's home shot at. And I'm like, holy crap. I look it up. Okay, it was an attempted break-in. And then we find out later in the day, it's a transgender leftist whose parents are Democrat donors. And we're like, okay, we can see where this is going. Now, I look at a story like this. It is extremely disconcerting considering what we've already seen in terms of escalation. But I also feel like you go to a regular person and you hear about the vice president's house being attacked, like, oh, yeah, that's crazy. So as much as I think the bigger story personally is foreign policy, I think for the American people, this story is
more pressing. More pressing.
More pressing.
It reminds me of the guy who smashed Nancy Pelosi's husband in the head with a hammer. I mean, it was a break-in, glass shattered, hammer. I think this guy used a hammer also. Yeah. And
I think they're a little different.
Yeah, it's definitely a different situation, but it reminded me of that when I...
The thing about the Pelosi's getting attacked was that, like, this wasn't a right-wing guy. This was a crazy person, and initially we didn't understand how this could have happened.
They might have known each other, too? Like the story,
I think that was the
unfolded.
original story was like maybe, and so there was a lot of speculation, some of it obviously unwarranted, that it was like a booty call or something. I lean more towards like a drug thing. This, however, is, I'll put it like this. The Nancy Pelosi and the Paul Pelosi attack, horrifying. Very, very bad. Nobody wants that. Worth talking about. We have questions. Same thing here. However, this fits a pattern of an escalation of violence against right-wing individuals the left does not have.
Not only that, this is, how many trans people have acted out in a violent manner, politically motivated and stuff. This has become undeniably a pattern. I didn't want to get involved in it's always trans people, blah, blah, blah. But it does get to the point where you're like, look, you can't deny the fact that these people, whether it has anything to do with the fact that they're trans or just because they're trans and they're in the LGBTQ lobby and they feel like the LGBTQ identities are being repressed or whatever, they're lashing out. It's something that's real.
I think that's probably a factor. But I also think probably, and I say this without any derision or hate in my heart. I mean this seriously. I think these people are sick. I think if you are getting surgeries and you are taking medication, I'll just put it simply, they're going to get offended. Liberals will get offended by me saying this, but there is something wrong with you.
They'll get offended.
They're
anyways.
going to right. But here's the point. There was this push to remove gender dysphoria from the DSM-5, and actual trans activists came out saying stop, because if you get this removed as a mental disorder, diagnosable mental disorder, you can't get prescriptions for it. So these people who want to be offended by me saying there's something wrong with this person, they are sick and need help. If that were not the case, they couldn't legally be prescribed medication, now could they?
Right.
And look, to your point, like even if they are sick, and I know that there are a lot of right-wing people that would hate even hearing this, but even if they are sick, like that doesn't mean that they can't get treatment and actually decide to live like the other sex if they want. We can make room for that in society. I don't think that we should be empowering them at all, but like the idea that because you're acknowledging that it is a disorder, that they're going to be shoved into the closet again. I don't know if that's going to be the situation.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, I mean, I think the bigger issue here is this isn't even really a personal issue with these people. This is a society-wide issue because we're enabling behavior that is inherently self-destructive. And so naturally, when you enable that sort of behavior is going to extrapolate out to the population, that they're going to, take this out in the population. If they have such a poor perception of themselves, or they feel like they were truly born in the wrong body, they're going to have a lot of difficulty interacting with other people and giving them, if they can't, because if you can't give yourself dignity, you're certainly not going to extend that to other people.
See, I'm in the camp where I don't even think they should get the surgery because
Right.
even when they're adults, right? Because it's a mental disorder. You don't go and tell someone who's too skinny, you need to actually eat less. Like, what are you doing? You're feeding their delusion by giving them these surgeries, and then they're like, okay, well, I'm actually a woman now. If you don't refer to me as a woman, I'm going to punch you in the face.
If you're, surgery should be outlawed.
The hard thing about this for me is we left off last year being like, we're not having fun anymore. It used to be when we first started doing the show, when I was doing stuff, there were serious issues to talk about, and sometimes we get angry. But there was always a little bit of laughing. And I feel like in the past several months, Charlie Kirk's murder, there's no laughing. There's less of it. And I'm like, we need to try and laugh more. It's really hard to do. It's really hard to laugh at this and like to make jokes and have a good time. And the problem I have with it is I feel like there are people who watch at home and all of us are super tightly wound up and high strung. This is what my problem when I wake up in the morning and I'm like, okay, let's talk about Venezuela, foreign policy. I mean, I've got concerns about intervention. And then it's like, oh, actually, the biggest story right now is that someone tried breaking in. Well, there were shots at J.D. Vance's house. Not true, but that was the initial report. Someone's trying to break in, another attack against the right. And I'm like, man, it is really hard to stay positive and have fun. So I will say moving forward, we're going to try.
And we're going to
We
succeed.
can right here. Look at this guy. It looks like Jabba the Hutt. It looks like a Discord Reddit mod. I mean,
yeah, but then you get banned for being hateful. It's
Yeah,
like,
well-
guys, let us have fun. Let's release a little
look
steam.
at that
No
haircut.
fun allowed.
The haircut is ridiculous. The barber literally
That's
effed it up on
the
purpose.
Due to the Roar special. That's
It's
what we have,
disgusting.
yeah,
I mean,
this is-
they're all way
haircut.
too fat. They're all
Yeah.
way too fat or way too skinny. They don't take care of their
it's
bodies.
like
No, I agree with this.
It's like
I don't care if you're trans. Your haircut is disgusting.
it looks like if one of the Beatles melted. That's what it looks like. I mean, this is really something.
Okay, now we're getting somewhere.
Yeah, now we're getting somewhere. This really does illustrate the point, though, is like, with these types of people that are roaming around the streets, being completely enabled by society, like to enable their delusions, what you create in the United States and the West at large is you have an increasingly large proportion of the population that has nothing to lose. So this is obviously going to happen. Like, we have this issue in the United States where we want to address a level of the issue without going and cutting the head off the snake, right? Like, what's going on here is this is much higher. This is of much larger magnitude, this issue, in which people in American society feel like they have no purpose. They feel like they're completely, I'll use the word that we were using last year, deracinated, and it causes these issues. And so it's like, okay, we can clamp down on Antifa violence, This is great. But to undo this damage, to give people like sort of meaning back in their lives, that's going to take a lot more work. And quite frankly, a lot of those issues, people, they're politically radioactive. People don't want to touch them. It causes tremendous issues. But yeah, back to my first point, this is someone that has nothing to lose, and there's a lot of people
You
like
can
that.
see it in the eyes. You can always see it in the eyes. Look at that thing's eyes.
Yeah, if you have no purpose, no North Star in your life, you're going to lash out. You're going to attach onto some sort of radical ideology.
I was having a conversation at a poker table, as literally every story I have for you will begin. And in all seriousness, it's largely because that's where you're sitting around a group of people and everyone's kind of debating. But you got 8 people at a table, and there was this liberal guy, and he said of the Somali daycare fraud stuff that he's totally fine with it. And he says, I got no problem giving a small percent of my money to help people. And I was like, but you're not helping people. They're stealing money and buying Gucci with it. And he goes, what, $1 billion? Who cares? And I said, Gen Z, who can't afford homes, who can't get jobs, and are being told by you, a Gen Xer, you don't care that the public coffers are being stolen for luxury items in an immigrant community. I'm like, this is why you're going to get Nick Fuentes. And he's like, I don't know what that is. And I'm like,
Gosh.
I said, honestly, liberal and conservative just means I know the news or I don't know the news. And I was like, I'm not saying this to be derisive, but if you don't know what's going on in the world and you don't know the news, you'll call yourself a liberal. And he goes, I actually don't watch any news at all or read anything. And I was like, well, case in point, right?
So did he identify his queens as kings? Did he say, yeah, these queens are actually kings, they transition?
That's a good idea, actually. I'll be like, my queens are kings, I win, actually.
Of course, they identify as kings, so you've got to do it. They transition.
Next time I have queens and someone else has kings and we both go all in at the end, I'll be like, actually, we push.
Yeah.
We chop. It's a chop pot.
It's true.
And the Jack is some sort of non-binary.
Yeah, true. It's
I had
real.
to point out with
No,
this
ace is non-binary because it goes both ways.
That's true.
Yeah,
That is
there
true.
you go.
with this story about this guy who identified as transgender, breaking JD Vance's or trying to break into his house. I want to always remind people it's a correlation, like having a mental disorder or any kind, like mentally ill people tend to be, potentially commit more acts of illegality, and people that are suffering from mental illness also might have an array of those things. It doesn't mean that that's the reason they did it. So it's very dangerous to go down the path of being like, well, if they're transgender, then fill in the blank. It's a correlation.
No, it's a good point because the correlation might not be gender dysphoria. Gender dysphoria might be might be on top, right? The underlying cause might result in violent tendencies and gender dysphoria among other things. So the issue is, and I agree with this, that someone will see, another trans person committed an act of violence, and it's like, whoa. There may be an underlying mental illness, nihilism, or some kind of social disorder that results in a multitude of things, including gender dysphoria, violence, anorexia, pica, whatever it might be. And I actually think I think that's true. I don't see all these trans people and these stories of violence committed by trans shooters as an issue of trans people. I see trans people as an issue of something else that combines these issues. I think we've got dejected youth. I think we've got social media-induced mental illness. I think we've got drug-induced mental illness. I think we're over-prescribing drugs to young people, to kids.
Speaking of, did you see the Trump administration just announced they're going to go from 72 mandated vaccines, scheduled vaccines, to 11?
We do have that in the roster.
That's wild. We'll talk about that later tonight.
But we're
talking about
over-prescribing
healing.
medications. And on top of that, the internet is destroying social function. So when we talk about transgenderism, some of it being a social contagion, I think Dylan Mulvaney is a great example of this. Dylan Mulvaney is not gender dysphoric, nor what's the fetish one?
It turns them on to be a cross-dresser.
That's the fetish one.
AGP. Yeah.
Dylan Mulvaney is doing it for attention on social media, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That social drive is the social contagion, and so it's not one thing. It's a bunch of different things that are manifesting in a variety of problems in our society.
I think another reason. Oh, you can go.
Go ahead.
I feel like a lot of these trans people are people who grew up being told, "Oh, you're special your entire life. You're in the special area of class where you're like a higher achiever and all that kind of stuff." And then once their grades start slipping, there's a lot of this out there. They no longer have that attention of being called special. And then once they go through high school, they end up being like, well, nobody really wants to talk to me. I'm not special anymore, so I'm going to become trans or a plethora of anything of these other things.
That's the social contagion element,
Yeah.
where it's It became trendy in the media. TV shows were launched by it.
And what Lance is talking about is like society permits antisocial behavior. It never corrects for antisocial behavior, and this is like across the board at all. Like that's what creates crime. Like people, like the things that foster crime, especially in the inner city communities, is the fact that these communities do not police for antisocial behavior from an early age, and then it manifests into violence. It manifests into a whole plethora of issues. It's the same thing with trans.
I guess this guy that just did this at JD Vance's house probably also did this because he wanted to be famous in some way.
Maybe.
Yeah, well, all the social incentives in American society skew towards antisocial behavior.
But it
so
does.
obviously
It does seem like trans people, like it's a manifestation of a bunch of different things. Like we're talking about, AGP is one of them. The idea that if you're a white man, you've been or a young white man, you've been demonized so much that there's really no social benefit to being a straight white guy. But if you're a trans person or what have you, then that's some kind of social benefit that you'll get. Whereas if you're a straight white guy, you don't.
I'm more
so
impressed than
how do
you. You need to look at me.
exactly. So how do you get out of that? If you're told when you're a young kid that you're inherently evil, oh well, if you decide that you're non-binary or maybe you're trans or what have you, there's an incentive to join the LGBT lobby and get away from the you're just a normal white guy. No, I'm not. I'm non-binary. I'm trans.
It's certainly like
Phil's got a tic-tac-toe thing going on.
I'm biracial. Oh yeah. I've transitioned. Now I'm a black man.
Yeah, it's definitely a subconscious thing because I mean, if it were a conscious thing, these people already presuppose that white men are actually like ruling everything.
Yeah.
So they would want to be a white man. So if anything, it is subconscious.
All right, let's get into the nitty-gritty. We got breaking news coming out of Venezuela. Heavy gunfire in Caracas. Let's roll tape. Now, could it be that this is just celebratory gunfire?
That's true.
Big celebration.
That they are so happy that Maduro is out. They are shooting anti-material, anti-aircraft rounds into the air.
Yeah, I haven't heard of that before. It's a celebration.
They're probably
I mean,
shooting
these are not just bullets. I mean,
Probably
this
shooting
is
at the ghost of Kiev.
I'll say this much.
that.
I don't think that it's actually the United States doing an op because the lights are on. When the U.S. went in, they just turned Caracas off. Everything was out. So
Disclose TV half an hour ago had a report. Explosions reported at Miraflores Palace in Venezuela's capital, Caracas, according to El País. So we've also got this report. We'll rope it in here. Venezuela's Caracas Stock Exchange ends the day nearly 70% higher as markets react to the U.S. capturing President Maduro.
Oh my gosh!
What we're seeing here with this gunfire, we don't know what it is, but I would say I've seen a lot of the pro-Trump, the MAGA faction celebrating U.S. intervention. There's been a good example of this criticism we've seen is Viva Frei criticizing Matt Walsh. Matt Walsh saying, hey, if we're going to go in and take resources of our country, it's a good thing. Then Viva, of course, saying, here's a post from Matt Walsh about foreign intervention in the Middle East. It does seem, at least in my opinion, that there is an incongruence. I would describe it as there's a lot of people on the right who are celebrating this intervention despite being generally anti-intervention for the most part when it comes to the Middle East. I don't think they're mutually exclusive. I think you can support this operation while opposing what we did in the Middle East. However, my point is there are some people that are clearly just saying whatever Trump does is right. And there are a lot of people more on the left saying no matter what Trump does, he's wrong. A good example being Chris Murphy, who in 2019 said Trump should be organizing like the removal of Maduro. He's way more dangerous. And then now today saying it's an illegal attack on Venezuela. But the big picture here is this. The concern I have always with regime change operations, intervention, even when it is in our backyard and smoothly done like this, is potential destabilization. So let me just say this right away because I know everyone is aching to hear my opinions. I talked about it in the morning show, but for those that are just watching IRL, this is, I'm lukewarm on this operation. I can very easily say a few things. Venezuela aggresses upon us all the time. They are in our backyard, right? We are operating in the Gulf of America. Sorry, Gulf of America.
Don't misgender it.
And Venezuela does as well. And Venezuela does manufacture drugs. Many of those drugs are sent to this country. And so the question is, the way I describe it is like this. If you had a neighbor across the street from you who kept shooting guns and had drug dealers coming in and out of his house, and it was attracting homeless people and criminals, and they started hanging out on your property, and you had to keep coming out and stopping people from breaking stuff on your property, At what point do you call the police and say, I want you to take that guy down by force?
Like immediately,
That's the question of war. So you've got these people that are saying, I thought you opposed intervention. Why would you support Venezuela? And it's like, well, hold on. You're talking about Afghanistan and Iraq and war with Iran. We're talking about 20,000 miles away. This is not something directly in our backyard. Sure, it's like saying I got a beef with the guy on the other side of town. And at a certain point, you do call the cops on him. But there's a big difference with Venezuela being in our backyard.
And there's a lot of difference between regime change and regime change war. When you look at what the economic hitman talks about, first you try and bribe the guy to get a regime change. If he won't take the money, then you go kidnap him or execute him and for the regime change. That fails, then you do a regime change war. So they seem to be at part 2. They got him, they stole him, took him, and they're foisting a regime change. Ideally with no proceeding war after the fact. But the thing is, man, don't celebrate day one after an operation and be like, he finally did it. They finally did regime change right. Like, bro, when was the last time you saw the United States do regime change right? When have you ever seen it happen?
We got more videos coming out of Venezuela. See, this is what I'm talking about, man. Check this out. Unidentified drones flew over the Miraflores Palace in central Caracas, leading security forces to open fire. This is why we're seeing those shots. Yeah. So what you were saying, civilian drones?
Yeah, so a lot of the local reporting in Venezuela is saying that it was a civilian drone that got too close to the palace, and the Venezuelans just unloaded on it. Because, I mean, tensions are high. Obviously, they're freaking out. They're in disarray. So.
See, if it was the United States, they would just turn Caracas off again.
So
that was an Israeli drone, I bet.
Oh,
yeah, right.
Here we go.
See, look, I got a video here. I don't know if it's real. I don't know if I want to play it or not, because it's just a video of people shooting.
Yeah.
And so I'm not going to pull this in. It says... There's reported gunfire, according to Bloomberg, around Venezuela's capital in Caracas. And it shows a video of a guy. I don't want to play this because we don't know if it's real.
Yeah.
And it's from, about an hour, almost an hour ago. So we can't confirm a lot of these things. What I will say is, as more information is starting to come in, the concern I have with regime change, and again, brilliant point, Ian, all of these people, like, Matt Walsh says, regime change war is bad. Now we're talking about regime change without the war. And the war was always the biggest factor in it. I'm going to stress this. I'm still not a fan of us going and removing the government or whatever. I say I'm lukewarm on it. Iraq, Afghanistan, easily opposed to a great degree. War with Iran, absolutely not. Venezuela, I don't like it, but there's a big difference here. And it's not a war. However, the reason why I don't like it is very clear. People have said it's not Islamic tribesmen, and goat herders who are fighting with each other without a stable government. It's Venezuela, okay? It's the removal of one leader and the government can continue. Yes, but there are narco gangs, there are cartels, and a power vacuum will create conflict. So what happens now if the U.S., they say, we're running the show there until they can have an election? Yeah, what happens if a cartel goes, now's our chance? Mm-hmm. The U.S. has not come in, there's no boots on the ground, and the government's is now in chaos. What's to stop criminal gangs to go in and try and start seizing power? What's to stop them from going and seizing industry? The U.S. sending boots on the ground? Great. Then we get the war portion of this. Or we ignore it and let criminals stage a coup or other factions. We tried it in Iran, and I know Iran is very different from the United States. From Venezuela. The point is, the last thing we want is destabilization in Venezuela. Because if you thought the narco gangs and the cartels were bad now, what happens when the whole country is destabilized? I know Maduro's a bad guy. Venezuela is better off without him, so long as they don't destabilize because of this.
Yeah, there's 2 points and then a third to address that. Is the first two, I think the reason why people are antsy about this but have come around on this specific intervention is because it's actually rare to see competency in these operations from the United States. Like, for what it's worth, we're not the best at running an empire. Like, if you compare us to like these historic empires, we're not very good at conducting affairs. And so people don't expect competency from these sorts of operations. The fact that this was done in 88 minutes in and out, Maduro's in a black bag back in New York Stewart, blows people's minds. And that's why people are like, wow. And it's like, actually, if this is how we're going to conduct these operations, I do support these because I didn't expect that. I did not factor that in. The second point being, the United States clearly communicated what its foreign policy goals were in the Western Hemisphere. And that's a breath of fresh air to people to say, we looked at the NSS, it was very clear what we wanted to do in our backyard, and then we went and did it. There was no inconsistency. What you saw with Libya, what you saw with Iraq, Afghanistan, you name it. It was ambiguous. There was not much communication to the American people. None of it really made a lot of sense geopolitically. The goals changed 3 years in. A lot of different moving parts. With this one, we literally said in the NSS, we are going to patrol our own neighborhood, And then that's exactly what happened. So no one felt like the blind was pulled down on them. And then to Tim's point about the destabilization, one thing that has to be factored in here is that the opposition party received like tremendous support in the last election. They're currently in exile, but presumably if they do return to Venezuela, which is probably going to happen, they will have pretty popular support within Venezuela. The military there probably come around. There's a lot of reports of a lot of these generals and officers in the military were never loyalists to Maduro in the first place.
Yep.
So it's very likely that if the United States does install the opposition, obviously that's been exiled, then it would probably wouldn't be too hard to wrangle the country back under control.
Here's what matters. The American economy is about to boom.
Yep.
We just got, what,
I
billions?
think 17 trillion.
Trillions
Yeah.
of barrels of oil. Is that what it is?
Yep.
I think it's 17
boy.
trillion.
Well,
And,
also,
you know,
It's
and you
gonna
know,
take a while to get it out of the ground, but yeah.
you can make a lot of plastic with that.
yeah.
And we like our plastic here in the United States.
So the price of Legos is going to go
Yeah.
down.
Oh,
Are we
let's go.
mad?
Oh,
Let's
yeah, bro.
A
go.
lot of smart kids.
This is the name of the game. I guarantee you, first of all, we're in Florida right now. You go out in Florida and ask someone what they think about Maduro, and you're going to find a lot of Venezuelan exiles who are going to be like, yes. We saw people driving around with the Venezuelan flag on it. They are happy Maduro is gone. They are here because Maduro burned their country down.
Yeah.
Not just him, Chavez,
Yeah.
who then handed it to the bus driver Maduro, who chubbily ate an empanada live on TV while the nation was starving. These are not good people. But I go to a regular American anywhere, and I guarantee you, if I say, what do you think about Venezuela? They're going to be like, what?
Yeah.
I said, what do you think about Trump going in and removing the president of Venezuela? And they're going to be like, he did? Because I kid you not, that's what was happening yesterday when I said that guy was like, I don't watch the news. He's like, we did what in Venezuela? And I'm like, we conquered them in an hour. And he was like, oh. But I tell you this. What happens if I go to that person and say, hey, the milk, bread, and eggs are all $1 cheaper? They'll go, yeah, let's go. Your rent is going down. Awesome. Homes are cheaper. That's good news. How do you do it? We steal energy from other countries.
Yeah.
So I'm hearing, when Matt Walsh says, if the United States is going to go to another country and take their resources for us, then good. And I'm seeing these people go, so you're saying that might makes right? Let me just stress this for everybody. Might makes. That's it. Right is not an equation. It doesn't matter. Your morality doesn't matter. When the barbarian kicks your door in, burns down your house, and steals your gold, you can complain all day and night about what was moral and what was unjust, but guess what? He did. China will do it. I love this viral clip. I don't know if you guys saw it, where a Venezuelan was like, to all the people claiming that they only went in and removed Maduro for oil, what did you think China and Iran were doing in our country? Mm-hmm. It's all for the oil. Mm-hmm. I'm not justifying it or saying it's good. I'm making the point that a praying mantis will chop off the head of another bug to eat it. And we don't go, it's evil. No, it's a bug preying upon something. I was thinking about this in terms of someone was talking to me about the threats of violence, and they said, you must get a lot of enemies in your line of work. And I thought about it for a second, and I was like, I don't really care for the phrase enemies, to be honest. I mean, I'm not trying to be naive or anything. My point is, if a grizzly bear is walking through the forest and wants me to maul me to death, do I call it my enemy? We don't refer to it that way. Grizzly bear is going to do what grizzly bear does. Mm-hmm. Humans are going to do what humans do. And certainly I understand that the distinction of what enemy means. A person targeting me, they don't like my ideology. My point is, in the grand scale of the world, everyone's going to justify whatever they have to do to steal from everybody else. What we want on this planet is no more war. We don't want it. We want to work that away. The point, I suppose, is we're not there.
Yeah.
We are not at a point where we can go to China and say, guys, please stop engaging in warfare and illicit activities. Mm-hmm. Hey, Venezuela, we tried this with sanctions. I believe that the United States is arguably one of the most noble when it comes to war, despite all of its failings. And people are going to argue, how could you say that, Tim? We invaded Iraq and Afghanistan on lies. And everyone else does substantially worse. I'm not saying we are good. I'm saying the most noble, and that's a low bar. My point is, the first thing we did was we told Venezuela, stop giving oil to Iran, who is funding terrorists who are bombing things, in the Middle East and destabilizing the region. Now, I can make the argument, why are we involved in the Middle East? Fine, everybody can. But the point is, we first said, guys, please no. They told us to go F ourselves. We told Iran, if you're going to do dirty things, we're going to sanction you. I think sanctions are a good thing. We don't want to go to war. We don't want boots on the ground. So we say, we're not going to buy and trade with you. I think that's fair. I got no obligation to buy from you or trade with you. Mm-hmm. And I could say, everybody, stop trading with them. We don't want war, so we're gonna do it this way. Well, Venezuela bypasses that. Sooner or later, You have to say, I am willing to assert authority or I'm not. If the United States is going to allow Venezuela to allow Iran to come in and build bases, create a hub, and China as well, and they're going to start selling massive amounts of oil to China to bypass our sanctions and our system and fund wars against us, it is not a simple... There's no reality. There's no zero-sum game. Sooner or later, China is going to make moves against us, and they already are, and they do it every single day. And the question is, what are our intentions? And my view is this. We don't want war, and we avoid it at all costs. Prepare for war. Because if you don't, China will take everything. Iran will take everything. So that's why when I see these people who are like, intervention is always bad no matter what. And I'm like, dude, sooner or later, something happens, whether you want it to or not. And you're in a fight, okay? Like I gave the analogy earlier about your neighbor with guns. I've been in situations in Chicago. I don't go to my neighbor's house and say, I'm going to fight you. No, but they're flinging dog crap on my lawn. Do I just sit there and say, well, I don't want to fight, so I'm going to let them do it? No, you say stop or else.
In fact, the French, right before World War II popped off, when the Germans invaded Poland and took Poland, the French had about 2 weeks to invade Germany and attack. They declared war and they just sat there because there's still this hope of like, maybe if we just appease, maybe they'll just stop. Bro, when there's a belligerent force on the move, they don't just stop. You can pray all you want, but at some point you need to stop the belligerents. Like, and that's, I'm not like qualifying the Venezuelan shit because I don't know. It is like a bastion of defense for our Gulf of America, protecting the Panama Canal. And it removes the influence of the Chinese in Venezuela, which also helps. So not only do you reduce,
but it's as simple as this: are these people opposed to this operation, literally of the mindset that never, for any reason, should we be involved in a conflict outside of our borders?
No, they're purely anti-American. That's it. If America does it,
but
America's
Tucker
bad.
Carlson?
there might be.
No, not Tucker Carlson. I'm talking about the left.
Tucker's,
the leftists.
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he's been critical of the actions in Venezuela.
Pretty sure.
Megyn Kelly as well.
Well, I
don't think they hate America.
Yeah.
No, like I
So
said, the
my point,
leftists.
my point is, I don't want a war in Venezuela, and I don't want destabilization. However, that's why I say I'm lukewarm on this, because we didn't go to war. We removed the guy who was aggressing upon us in our backyard, and allowing our adversaries to operate in our hemisphere, in our region. I mean, at a certain point, we have to say, guy, stop. Like, bro, if you keep throwing things at me, I'm gonna hit you.
Yep.
Okay, I don't want to hit you. This is the self-defense argument we always make on this show. You don't go out and just shoot a guy who's pissing you off. But when they when they actually threaten your life, they are walking onto your property. I talk about this in terms of like West Virginia versus, say, New Jersey. New Jersey says if a guy breaks in your house, you can't defend yourself. Okay, that's insane. Now, don't get me wrong. If you told me you were going to leave your house, walk to a neighbor's house because he was threatening you, and then you're going to shoot him, I would say, yeah, that you're going to go to jail for that. But we're talking about with Venezuela, a guy aggressing upon us, and we're calling the cops on him, basically.
So what do you
we
think
didn't go
about-
to war. We didn't invade. We removed one guy because we tried sanctions and it didn't work.
Look,
I'm not saying it was the right move, and I think there are great risks here. I'm just saying this is not an easy circumstance like Afghanistan, where we can say sending thousands of troops for 20 years to this country made no sense. That's clear.
They specifically had DEA agents out so that way it could be argued that it was a law enforcement operation.
Bro, but it's not about drugs.
No. But that was the pretense to get
that was
him.
for the courts.
But
I mean,
that was exactly
That's the
what it
weapons
is.
of mass destruction.
That's what all this is, and this is like what people need to understand about Trump and like why Trump is a departure from previous administrations is because Trump is a foreign policy realist fundamentally. Like he tweeted back in 2012, he was talking about the Iraq War, and he was like, "Why didn't we get the oil?" That was his question because he accurately views the United States as an empire. We're kind of post-republic at this point. We are an empire. So if we're going to conduct these sort of foreign policy interventions, like Tim's saying, a lot of people in America aren't keeping up with the geopolitical ramifications. They're just wondering what's in it for me.
It's legit.
Cheap gas,
If
oil.
if it's good for the United States, it's good.
But-
That's
but
the reality.
beyond
of the
that-
A
situation.
short-term good might be a long-term bad. You never,
Well,
you
but
gotta,
beyond that, this is the important point regarding the Trump doctrine is that he fundamentally views every single country at the negotiating table as self-interested, and that is a massive departure from previous administrations. Previous administrations are like, we have these alliances, enemies here, alliances here. There's an axis of evil. This Trump treats every country the same. He says they're looking out for their people. They're self-interested. I'm going to behave self-interested. I'm going to look out for the interest of Americans, and that's huge
what
departure.
he should do.
I feel like the actions of the Democratic Party over the past several years was a lesson intentionally done to teach people like me why we have intervention. That is, Democrats willing to arrest Trump's lawyers in violation of the Constitution and the media willing to lie to cover it up makes me go, well, I guess if you're unwilling to defend your world and your views, people will aggress upon you in evil ways.
Yes.
Yep.
And the realization there, I'm half kidding, obviously. My point is we've always known that evil people will do evil things. And the argument often made, which we've talked about to a great extent on this show, is if we don't, China will. If not China, somebody else. Russia will. So the question is, do you want to be under the boot of a Chinese unipolar power? No, we don't. Well, here's the reality, guys. By all means, I can talk about the real problems with regime change, war, and intervention, and that is destabilization of regions, which screws us over. Like the rise of ISIS was not good for our interests, unless, of course, Obama was just doing it to screw with Syria and have a proxy war. But it looks like we continually, like the Mujahideen makes Al-Qaeda, we get 9/11. If you want to make the argument, none of it, if you believe that 9/11 was an inside job, then perhaps maybe your argument is the U.S. should stop and it'll all go away. I don't think so. I think if the U.S. backs down and lets Maduro and the Venezuelans do whatever they want, China bypasses everything that we've done. And the end result is this. It doesn't matter what you're for or against. The petrodollar falls and the American economy collapses. Now, I'm not saying one thing is right or one thing is wrong. I'm asking you what you want. It's an honest question. Do you like the economy in the United States? Now, many people are going to say, no, it's bad. Okay, do you want it to get worse? Of course not. Well, the U.S. economy is propped up on the petrodollar and the U.S. stealing oil from other countries. And I'm saying that in a very crude manner. You want to get the specifics? The U.S. enforces the petrodollar, which makes other countries buy U.S. dollars to buy oil. The contract with the Saudis ended, and Trump needs to restart that. If we don't have it, you will come to realize the U.S. does not export enough to create a strong economy, and then you'll wonder why laptops cost $10,000. Your car will be $100,000.
The thing is, like, the leftists are like, oh, Trump's a war criminal, this is war crimes and all that stuff. It's international law. Well, honestly,
International law is
I don't
imaginary.
really give a shit about international law. If you can't enforce the law,
There is
then
no
there is
international
no
law.
law.
Yeah, who enforces international law? Oh, the United
who's gonna
States.
do
Oh,
that?
sick. So
No,
we're
this
the
is-
international law. We did
Yeah.
it. It's legal.
So who cares?
You know what I love is the idea of a war crime.
Yeah, right.
You know, I love this because it's gentlemen in the battlefield agreeing not to kill each other in certain ways. The problem with the ideas of war crimes is it only constrains those who try to be noble.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying people should commit war crimes. I know the left will misconstrue what I'm saying. My point is, the United States takes very serious precautions against killing civilians. Not always. Obama doesn't get a lot of credit for that one. But our troops on the ground are constrained heavily when they can engage, who they can engage with. The enemy, not so much. The
They
enemy
walk
will
up
strap a
and blow
bomb to a
themselves up.
child and send the child to go blow you up.
Yep.
Literally.
So, anyway,
I'm thinking-
let's jump to this next
Yeah,
portion of the
Dresden,
story.
Hold
the
on, one sec.
firebombing of Dresden, like all those
War is
civilians
war,
and
baby,
whatever,
and
yeah.
winning is winning.
Before we jump,
I
if
guess
it's
you don't wanna
bad
destroy
for
the planet.
communists, it's good. Period. If it's bad
okay,
for communists,
we
it's
should
good.
be
Guys,
Guys-
kidnapping a bunch of communists.
That's not
now,
logical.
guys,
true.
we've got this big story from CNN, and I want to first start by saying I have deep concerns about U.S. intervention in Venezuela. But I wholeheartedly support the invasion of Greenland.
So true.
Trump
Hell yeah.
threats stretch far and wide since his Venezuela strike. I'm kidding, by the way, but I'm sure that'll get taken out of context. Apparently, Trump has passively threatened to take Greenland by force and Iran. And now you've got a bunch of MAGA people tweeting out or posting on X, who's next? If we can remove a government in 90 minutes,
Yeah.
and, you
It's
know,
worth.
I think we
It's
could
worth.
just do
It's,
everything.
it's worth knowing. The 160th SOAR, the basically the Night Stalkers, the guys that fly the choppers for the special forces. They've been making a lot of moves to Europe right now, and I've read a lot of chatter that says that there's a lot of special forces guys going
They
to Europe
flew
as well.
to the UK, right? I saw some
Yeah,
stuff about
yeah,
that.
but I think that was just a jumping off point there.
We
so
got the
Greenland's
hot.
next, you're saying?
I mean, maybe
We got the hot hand.
So-
It's like an NBA
Hold
player knocks
on.
a few
All we
threes
would
down. He's like,
have
I gotta
to-
keep shooting. I
all
gotta
we
keep
would
shooting.
have to
Who
do
wants next? Let's take out.
is
let's
go to
shoot.
a big hill in Greenland and then just make a snowball and then just let it
We're-
come down and blow
we're
it
Yeah,
not-
you
we're
got the
not-
hot hand. Let's take Kazakhstan.
we're not gonna. We're
Why
not gonna.
All we'd
Why
have to
not?
do is place one flag in Greenland, and they couldn't do shit.
Why
No,
is Cambodia
listen,
not
no,
ours?
we're not-
Everyone here at Timcast is a neocon now. American exceptionalism, spread democracy.
John
We're not-
Bolton, I
listen,
apologize for everything.
Ian's always
I'm
saying
like,
that.
we're
John
not-
Bolton,
we're not-
John Bolton, if you can hear me, please.
We're
save
not
me.
going. Listen, there's no. Listen, don't take Greenland. Take Denmark, and you get Greenland.
That's a good
That
point.
keeps the Lego
And-
price down.
Yeah.
And
well, that's Sweden.
I would
Wait,
I would
right?
love nothing
Denmark.
more than to conquer Christiania. If you guys know what that is.
No,
What's
what is
Christiania?
You know what that is, right?
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
all of
Calm down.
Christendom, all the like
No,
the,
it's
the
a
holy
small
sites?
portion of Copenhagen that claims to be
yes.
separate from the EU.
It's
and
called
they,
a beachhead.
They call
Yeah, it's so true.
They declared independence, and like when you go there, I've been there several times, and it's amazing. I'm kidding, by the way, about conquering them. It's just a great place, and there's like good food.
Well,
and
I'm
it's
not.
fun.
I'm not kidding.
There's
I
skate
mean,
park.
we could go and take over the Islamic Republic of the United Kingdom, and that'd
Yeah,
be a great thing
literally.
as well. I mean, just kidnap. They call
Yeah,
him Keir
but-
Stalin. They call him Keir Stalin down there.
Yeah, apparently we can
like,
just
my,
steal
my,
your
my,
president
my
overnight,
problem,
so.
if my problem with the U.S. invasion of the Islamic Republic of the United Kingdom is that the war would create a lot of refugees.
Yeah.
And I don't think the U.S. can handle that many Islamic refugees coming.
Dude, the
to the United
dentists
States.
would be in a lot of work though. If the
United
refugees
States.
come, we'd have a lot of
dental
dentists.
industry would
The
be.
the
It'd be
braces manufacturing plants would go through the roof.
It would be insane. We'd be booming.
No, but,
business is
but-
booming.
And we don't have to worry about
I'm
war
sorry,
brides.
You're actually.
Women are
I
shopped.
got to counter. You're wrong.
They are chopped.
You're well. Actually, I don't know the kind. Like, I don't know if Pakistani's teeth are good or bad or whatever. My
Probably
point
bad.
is, at this point, if we were to invade the UK, we would get Muslim refugees.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be getting British
Yeah.
refugees.
It's disgusting.
My take on Greenland is that I know people are hyped up with like with adrenaline right now, and it's like, look, the sneak attack worked. Like, okay, the Germans were able to take Poland fast, and then they snuck attack France. We could take Greenland, but you better believe the whole world, that would change everything about the liberal economic order's view of the United States. It would not be good. I want the land. I'd love to go to Greenland.
You know,
There's so much
you can go to
territory.
Greenland. It's not
I
like
have-
off limits.
Hold on,
love
guys.
for it to be
I
American.
just need to say, I have deep concerns about the narco terrorists known as Jens Frederick Nielsen.
Oh, this guy's a problem.
Prime
Yeah,
Minister,
he's a
isn't that
problem.
guy the?
Can you pull this up?
I've heard they have a lot of snow down there,
This,
so we can
Down
just
there.
take
This narco
Come on.
terrorist, Jens Frederick Nielsen, gotta go.
Don't they make
we
fentanyl
have
in
no
Greenland?
choice.
Yeah, apparently the
They're,
polar
uh,
bears were
they're-
using
they-
coke.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
I mean, that's not a glacier.
it's like it's
uh,
cocaine bear, but it's polar bears.
Yeah.
It's insane.
What's
Okay,
To
hold
fair-
on, guys. In case it is not clear, Jens Frederick Nielsen is not a narco-terrorist. He's just the prime minister of Greenland. It's a joke.
So if Trump took if Trump issued a military attack on Greenland and the Kingdom of Denmark,
I'm listening.
that would start World War III.
No, it wouldn't.
It would, but
No,
it would give
Denmark
America.
wouldn't.
It would. China would take Taiwan.
oh, you
Russia
know
would
what
take.
happened?
No,
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 no.
You know what would happen
no,
is
no, no.
Denmark would cut off the Ozempic supply and we get really fat and then they could take us.
Yeah.
I think it
China's
would
not
start.
going to make a move if we fight with ourselves. Denmark is part of the Western
But
power.
if we seize, but let me finish this off. But it would give us an advantage in the war if we had Greenland. So it would be tactically sound if you were going to start World War
Invading
III.
Denmark would not make World War III happen.
It just gives the
It is
gives
not
the
a
casus
China-
belli to China.
No,
to
it
take
doesn't.
the West.
No,
No,
you
it
don't
doesn't.
think so?
China already has it.
China has no interest in Denmark.
No,
And-
it's in taking something.
That-
Everyone will
no,
take some. That's
no.
what happened with Mussolini. He took
China
a
can't
piece,
doesn't
then
have
Hitler,
a cause
then-
for war because within the Western powers we moved pieces around. Otherwise, war would have started yesterday.
Yeah.
Like there's conflict happening all over
Yeah.
Europe
It's
and
just
the United
it's
States.
the seizure of territory that
And-
kind of like makes it okay
Well,
for
China,
others.
the
No,
reason-
it doesn't.
China hasn't taken Taiwan because they can't yet. That's that they have the justification, so to speak, from the Chinese perspective to take Taiwan. They just haven't done it yet.
They've claimed forever. The communists have said Taiwan is a part of China and they're just in rebellion.
Yeah.
So they've already claimed the casus belli. They just can't do it.
Yeah.
So invading Denmark wouldn't change anything. We shouldn't invade Denmark, okay? But I can say if Trump just sent a bunch of troops to Greenland, they can say whatever they want. I want to tell you guys. I've told this story before, but I'm gonna say it again because we're all adults here. When I was young, I had a friend, and I said, "Would you like to go skateboarding?" And he said, "I can't. I'm grounded." And I said, "Oh, what does that mean?" And he goes, "I can't go outside." And I'm like, "Oh, so what happens if you go outside?" Well, I'll get grounded longer. Okay. And then what happens if you go outside again? My parents would ground me forever. And I'm like, I don't think you're following the logic here. Nothing is stopping you from going outside. My point is, if the U.S. marched into Greenland, Denmark would say a lot of things that would do literally nothing.
Yeah.
They'd say, "We're mad at you, the United States," and we'd say, "Okay, acknowledged."
They send in the Lego off and
We
It's
could,
worth- it's worth-
we could
look,
drop Lizzo on Greenland. It would be ours.
It's worth pointing out that
She would do a lot of damage. It'd be like,
We don't need to do any of that. We could literally just walk in and be like, "It's ours."
We're
the
already
locals-
there, guys. There's already a U.S.
sending in
military
a-
base
they're-
on
They're
Greenland.
sending in a mobilized dog sled unit. What do we do? It's like,
the
come on.
the idea of taking Greenland.
the
Like
best
we
dog sled.
already
We have the
have
best.
military personnel there. We are because Greenland is strategic. We monitor Russia from Greenland. It's not like we have to
Also,
take it away.
we can
We're
just-
already present there.
We can
As
just,
a total aside, someone just commented, "Lizzo lost half her body."
yeah, literally.
That's insane.
Yeah, and then as soon as Denmark cuts it off, she gets really
Okay.
big again, takes up all the space and
Chris
suffocates
Christie.
us.
Let's just do Chris Christie. Chris Crispy.
Also, like just
Crispy.
from a geopolitical perspective, all the U.S. has to do is just threaten to like cut down our NATO funding, and then everyone else in NATO is gonna be like, Denmark just.
You know,
just give it to
hold
them.
on. I just think it actually would be really funny if what's the city in Greenland? Nook. Wouldn't it be really funny if like Marco Rubio just came out and said we've uncovered a fentanyl ring in Nook?
yeah.
You're just like, bro, at this point, no.
He comes out with mittens on and like a big winter jacket.
Like,
to
my
make
point
the
is the
announcement.
Venezuela thing's clearly not about drugs.
No.
And
No,
it's-
no.
And it's very silly. Like to Rubio and the administration, guys, it's not 2003 anymore. Okay, you're not going to come out and be like the drugs. Just tell us it's the
No, I
oil.
really,
no,
but I
but
do, I
hang
do
on.
think that they're actually, I do think
Well,
that they're
Trump
being
said he's
more
taking
honest
the oil.
about it than anything else. Like they picked up Maduro. That's the justification of the drugs. But like Trump was saying, it's about the oil. It's about the fact that they stole stuff. And there's one more point when it comes to Venezuela that I want to make. Like in living memory, this was a thriving country with a capitalist society. There are people that are in their 50s that remember what it was like, so it's far more likely that these people are going to be like, yeah, we want to go back to the way that it was, than to say, oh, we want to see another another
It was the
dictator in
richest
power.
country in South America.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
the richest. It
And
still
it's-
has all the oil, all the
That's like
gold,
being
everything.
that's like being the gayest guy in San Francisco.
Yeah,
It's Latin
yeah.
America.
That
Yeah,
argument
right,
is
right.
what they'll say about Iran,
Yeah,
too.
but they were wealthy.
They'll say the Iranians used to be so flourishing before the Shah was removed, so we have the same right as we did in Venezuela.
I didn't say it's that we have the same right, and I'm not
duty,
making the
whatever you
point
wanna call
that Iran is the same thing as Venezuela. Venezuela and Iran are two very, very different populations. There is a large percentage of Iran that doesn't like the Ayatollahs. There's a lot of people that consider themselves Persians. They don't consider themselves Iranians. And they're having a massive civil unrest there now, anyways. And I'm not saying that the U.S. should go in, although it might be happening, considering what we talked about with the SOAR with the 160th going over to Europe.
And
But
real
anyways.
quick with the narco-terrorism thing, the reason, like, we know that this plan was hatched like 5-6 months ago, and it's been in development. So
7 months ago.
It's about 6 or 7 months ago. So the reason they were laying this out and saying this is like purely about drugs is because they knew they were going to black bag Maduro and bring him to the Southern District of New York. So you needed to have charges ready to go. You can't just charge him for being mean. That just doesn't stand up in court. You need
We
to be
could.
airtight. Because we could try. We've seen because we've seen these courts like screw with Trump
Yeah, and
administration
it's
so
worth.
much,
It's also worth noting. Look, the Biden administration put a $25 million bounty on his head. Joe Biden's administration did.
Did Trump collect it?
What?
Did Trump get the
No, what they
collection?
should do, and I said this. I
He
actually
goes to Biden's like, I'd like my money.
look.
please."
They should take that $25 million and they should give it to the guys that went in and got him.
True.
They should split it up among the Delta
guys,
guys.
I'm going to say this: we should have Greenland.
I know. I don't understand why it's not
I-
ours.
I think it is the stupidest thing in the world that Trump goes like, maybe we'll buy Greenland or something, and the liberals are like, oh no, Trump's an imperialist invading. I'm like, what are you talking about? This is the history of all countries, of our country.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to argue that Trump going to Nook and just massacring civilians to seize territory is a bad thing, agreed. But Trump negotiating terms that brings Greenland into the American fold is a good thing.
That I'm into. I'd love to buy it. I just don't know what
Right.
that would cost.
Also,
Denmark's like it's not
and
for
also,
sale.
like-
$45.
That is not how we play.
And
That's
a
not how
pack of
things work.
cigarettes,
Yeah.
too.
I reject. I
couple of us
despise
hot
this.
hands, hand warmers.
Did you guys know that West Virginia's constitution allows for any bordering Virginian county to join West Virginia?
That's cool.
Because when they were creating it, they were neighbors, and they said, if you decide in the future you want to join, you can. And I was talking to a guy in West Virginia about it, and he says, yeah, but Virginia would never allow it. And I says, why do we as Americans accept the idea that a despot 500 miles away can tell us how to live when the foundation of this country was telling a despot 3,000 miles away he can't tell us how to live?
Yeah.
If the people of Nook say, we don't want Denmark, we want America, then Denmark can shove it.
But then
the idea that the Danish are like, it's ours and you can't buy it, that's not up to you. If the 56,000 people in Greenland hold a legitimate vote and say, we don't want to be a part of your country, we want to join the United States, then Denmark can shove it.
It is true if that were real, but what they'll do is the CIA will send protesters over there or pay them. The whole USAID thing to make it seem like a color.
Oh,
they
that's
really
a
want it.
conspiracy, Ian.
I-
Next thing you're
it
going to tell
probably
me is
never
that
happened.
Israel attacked the
USS
Liberty.
yeah, like it went after one of our ships, an NSA spy ship in the
and
Mediterranean.
that
or
clip is
something.
going to be taken out of context, and they're going to claim that I was literally saying that there was
So-
no sarcasm.
I heard that
Israel bombed a carnival ship? What's going on?
Greenland's prime minister, at least I read on Twitter 4 hours ago, that he wants to parlay with the American government. He wants to make a deal of some sort, whereas the king of Denmark is saying, no, stop.
Right.
Greenland's
Yeah,
ours.
I don't care what he has to say. I don't. Well, if look, There's in northern Colorado, there's a county that wants to leave because Colorado's oppressive. And I'm like, yeah, okay.
Well-
Bro, if the city of Chicago voted to leave Illinois, I would say okay.
So I'm wondering if the prime minister of Denmark or of Greenland is realizing the writing's on the wall. Let's make a deal and get out of here. Let's leave and go to the U.S. If he's going to no longer be the prime minister within the next couple of weeks, if the king's going to have him removed through the governor general or whatever.
Well, one thing we got to consider here too is Greenland is this has been what the United States has been fighting against since its inception, is it's trying to buck the old world's order, like the way that the old world conducts themselves. And Greenland is really, the Danish inherited Greenland from their ancestors, from the Vikings who conquered all these territories and whatnot. And so it's the fact that they're even sovereign over it in the first place is hilarious, because the society that conquered Greenland in the first place is no longer there. The Danish now are just metrosexuals.
And,
You know,
and
and
in
another-
my point of view, I think Greenland was promised to us 250 years ago.
So
Never,
That's what I
never
heard.
mind that we were
Well,
running
no,
Greenland when the
hold on.
Nazis took Denmark.
How would you guys feel about what's the yearly GDP of the United States? Like what's our spend? Like 2 trillion, right?
Yeah, something
yeah,
like
our
that.
GDP is 6 trillion, I think.
But what's our actual federal budget?
Probably get it
Federal
from
budget is-
U.S.
no, it's
debt
six-
clock.
it's 6 trillion. I think.
67 trillion?
6 or 7 trillion. Yeah.
Really?
No, it's
No,
like
it's
6
not.
trillion.
That's our
The
debt.
6-7
There's
means
a
it's
lot.
strong.
Or 6 billion. Yeah.
Dude, I've
So
been hanging out
I'm-
with
so
6-7
here's my
Kevin,
pitch.
and then 6-7 went nuts.
trillion.
$6.8 trillion.
Okay, it was 6 to 7.
GDP.
Yeah.
It
I got a
literally
pitch.
was almost
Go.
there.
We are going to give every individual, including babies,
Ooh.
in Greenland $1 million
Yeah.
to join the United States. There's 56,000. It'll cost us $56 billion to give them $1 million each.
It reminds me of that video of Donald Trump buying those kids on the SNL skit. He's like, "I'll buy your kids. We'll buy Greenland, and your
Look,
kids, they're gonna be ours."
If the U.S. does that, you know the calls for reparations are going to be going through the roof.
I don't
People
care.
will be PO'd.
I'm in favor of, I can't remember the dude we had on the show, but I was like, hey, I got an idea. We got all this land owned by the federal government, by the Bureau of Land Management. How about we divvy that up amongst the black population descendant of slaves and give you your mule? And he was like, he was a social justice guy, and he goes, okay. And then I was like, hey, look, my attitude is the federal government shouldn't have it, the people have, and I don't care how the people get it. So if the argument is y'all want reparations, 40 acres and a mule, let's take it from the federal government because it's all this territory in the Rockies that's being held by the government that we
Or
can't have access
40
to.
acres in a Dodge Charger.
Yeah.
Oh
let's
my
go,
gosh.
Let's think
Neon
bold. See
green.
outside the box. Let's go Liberia 2.0. We move Greenland. We make it like the black ethno state. It'd be a great thing, I think.
Wakanda.
They're not going
We
to
literally have
Greenland.
Yeah,
It's
we
Wakanda.
cold.
install Flava Flav as prime
Actually-
minister. It'd be great. Yeah, well, that'd be fantastic.
Wakanda is in Illinois, I think, right?
No,
I think it's Atlanta,
it's like
right?
south of Chicago, I believe, right?
I don't think it's south.
We rename Nook to Wakanda. It'll be great. BET instead of it's gonna
Is
be
it
great.
south? I
It's
think it's
gonna be
north.
great.
Great.
This one.
It's north, I think.
Oh, Wakanda. Oh yeah.
We used to go to Wakanda all the
I
time.
didn't know that.
It's funny when people are like, haha, Wakanda. I'm like, yeah, it's northern. It's near McHenry.
Oh, my buddies from there.
Northwest.
Kanye
Chicago
West will be
suburb.
the Black Panther.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Bro,
problem,
people don't realize, but we're not joking. Wakanda is a suburb in
Oh my
northwest
gosh.
Chicago. Like,
No way, dude.
yeah, Wakanda.
Well,
Are
now
they
we have to
holding all
invade and
the,
get their vibranium.
Yeah, vibranium's there, 100%.
It's there.
very small.
deep
I saw
underground.
it.
Anyway,
You know,
I'm just saying Greenland is ours.
The issue with Denmark, just this little dinky country that controls this huge piece of land, like why do they have that from 200 years ago? Well, the British own Australia. Should they also lose Australia?
Well, they
The
don't
British own
technically.
Canada,
They don't
so
own
should they also lose Canada? Like Charles is the king of Canada. Should he lose Canada too?
You know what I love
Can
about
we
this
take
too
Canada?
is-
Yeah, what's
Technically,
You know,
I
you know what I
love
love
how
about
fixated he
the
is
Commonwealth
on that.
is that it is when you look it up, the people who live in Commonwealth countries are delusional. And Ian brought this up a long time ago, and you're correct that King Charles is the king of Canada, and he does have the authority to dissolve Parliament, just like he does in the UK. And however, although it's written down he can, whenever you ask someone from there, they go, he can't. And I'm like, now the question is, why do you think he can't? Because he can't. No, but it's written down that he can. The king of England is also the king of Australia and Canada and New Zealand, all these Commonwealth countries. And it's written down he can. And you just say no, but he can. Like,
Well, because
I don't care who the king is. The Canada is the United States property. Like whether they like it or not, they don't even have an army.
Also-
like they have like 30 airplanes or something like that. They're not a real country.
And the monarchy is like so cucked because it's like if Canada, if he's like I'm dissolving Parliament in Canada, like whatever, the Canadian Parliament just go no. And then
Wait,
you'd be
I
like,
just-
well, how can he enforce that? There's no way.
The red
I just
coats are coming.
figured it out. I just figured it out. So on this channel, I think we have like 2.6 something million subscribers. And I got the Timcast News channel's like 1.9, almost 2. The original Timcast channel is about 1.5. I got 2.5 million on X. So if you add it all together with like Facebook and Instagram, we did the math. It's around 10 million. Can we get out of 10 million people,
A GoFundMe.
60,000 people to move to Greenland
Yeah.
and then vote to join the United States?
Squatters' rights.
We can.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see any
answer is
point.
yes.
Just send all the homeless from California there. It's like, guys, just hang out here when it's time to vote. Get clean long enough so you can make it to the polling station.
We'll give you a little bit of crack money. You'll be fine.
It'd be great.
I know
yeah.
the segment isn't about Canada, but we got to reform the conversation about Canada to make them want to join the U.S. instead of being a British puppet.
We do not want
you-
Canada to be the
the way
United
you
States.
make them want to join is by subjugating them and telling them to say it. And it doesn't matter what they feel. It matters that they just say it.
I don't think so. We've tried that the last 2 years. They got scared and then they were like, China, save us. But dude, you don't want to be a British puppet. What? You don't want a king.
Well,
you want to be free
they're-
people.
So it's better to be a Chinese puppet. Come
better
on.
be an
They had a
American
no
free
kings
man.
protest
They're
in
literally
the UK
India
and in
puppet
Canada.
now.
It's
Well,
like,
in Canada,
okay.
they call it something else because they have a king.
Well, I think it was like no dictators or something. Something
It
like
was
that.
something they changed, like it
Yeah.
was like no empire.
Well, because
or
the
something.
reason Canada has a monarchy is not because they feel like this distinct connection to their Anglo history and they want to maintain that connection. It's because Canadians are like the most insecure people on planet Earth because their society is pretty much identical to the United States in every way. If you look around the world, there's not two countries more culturally similar than the United States and
Well,
Canada.
it's changing now.
Well, it's changing. Obviously, it's
You see
becoming
all the
very Indian.
Indians.
But
yeah.
but that, to that point is like because of that insecurity, they have to latch on to whatever does make them distinct from the United States. So the only reason they have the monarchy is purely out of spite. Like that's the reason why Canada's monarchy, like pro monarchy people, are typically left wing, and then the pro republic people are typically right wing. That's not the case anywhere else on Earth. But in Canada, they suddenly turn into these like trad, with our Anglo history and blood, and it's like, dude, they just hate America, and that's so gay. And we should take them for that.
Let's jump to this next story. Nick Shirley ended Tim Walz. That's what we're hearing. Governor Tim Walz has dropped out of the 2026 Minnesota governor's race amid the criticism over handling of fraud. CBS News reporting. I want to take this opportunity in the new year to give a shout out to Barry Weiss for doing a tremendous job over at CBS. Because check this out. Here I am looking at CBS mainstream media news reporting overtly that fraud is a very real thing in their state. In the article about the ongoing Somali daycare fraud, they point out there's been arrests. You get all these news outlets like CNN. CNN ran an article saying the Somali daycares operating in Minnesota are operating legally according to Minnesota investigators. And then CBS is like, since 2021, there's been 96 indictments over people for fraud in these daycare centers. Why does the media lie so much? We can only make assumptions, but we know they do. Barry Weiss came into CBS and she's reforming it. There was that documentary on CCOT that she was like, nah, you're not publishing that. And then the journalist came out and lied and said that she was, like basically glazing the Trump administration, when the reality was they made a fake activist documentary that omitted statements from CCOT and the government. And all they did was collect old statements and rehash them. Anyway, CBS doing a better job now. Tim Walz has dropped out, and it is clear that the Somali fraud story that got something like 160 million views from Nick Shirley's documentary is the pressure as to why. My opinion, the Democrats are in on the take. The reason why these liberals are running full speed to defend the Somali daycare fraud is because they know that they're benefiting from it. It is the micro level USAID scam. The state gives money to daycares, and the daycares give money to politicians to run for office. And now it's under threat, and it's going to be gutted. And so the liberals and their fake media are claiming it's all fake, nothing to see here. But guess what? Tim Walz is gone.
And even if they are operating legally, they're like babysitting their own children and other people's children that are from Somalia. So they come here and make a daycare for the Somalian community that just came here from Somalia. I have a problem with that.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? All the kids have hijabs on and everything. It's like, that's not a real American daycare.
The thing that Nick Shirley pointed out is, I'm going to say this. We don't know that every business he highlighted was committing fraud. But it is interesting, I will call it a preponderance of evidence, that you have a building with like 15 medical centers with no customers.
Yep.
And when he went and asked for prices, they couldn't give him any. That is evidence of fraud. I'm not saying it's proof. I'm saying when you got a building full of all of the same business and no customers coming or going, I got questions.
Yeah.
And then one of them got broken into, and all their documents are gone. So
Yeah.
wow,
Shocker.
that's crazy.
Also you had these libs, and they were like, it's because it was Christmas, so of course all the kids were with their
they're all
families. I'm like,
Muslim.
they're Muslim.
What are you doing? They literally hate
What are we
Christmas.
doing?
It was
You
there
knew
on the
about it?
Wait, hold on.
16th.
What do they celebrate in
They
Islam?
got like Ramadan.
Is that during?
That's not
It's
during.
not the same. They don't have like a competing holiday. The Jews,
No.
released Hanukkah as like competition because they needed some more
released it?
members.
It's
Yeah.
always
It's like
Israel,
DLC.
man, right? No.
Yeah, but Muslims haven't come up with a cool holiday. You even have Kwanzaa. So I think the Muslims
Yeah.
are developing maybe a Christmas competitor.
Yeah.
Because the market's expanding. There's a lot of them coming here, so they really need to like go hard.
They don't celebrate Christmas or. Yeah.
Yeah, because all these other religions like we gotta compete with Christmas. Everyone loves Christmas. We gotta go with the market
Well,
share.
if they do come out with their own holiday, what they can do is strap bombs to the people and then shoot them in the sky, and those are the fireworks, right?
So true.
It's something they would enjoy doing. They already
Yeah,
do.
but yeah. To Tim's point, also like probably some internal numbers came through. He's down in the polling. That'd be really embarrassing.
Oh yeah,
obviously.
he definitely
Because
benefited.
it's this weird situation Democrats are in where they actually have to be held accountable to some degree. Like the voters actually see stuff like this happening because this is not the first time anything like this has happened. This has been happening a lot over the last 10, 20, 30 years.
Yeah, and you're seeing it all over the country too. Now there are other people
sure.
that have done investigations, and it seems like Elon Musk might have actually been right about the magnitude of fraud going on in the United States.
yeah.
He was talking about
Seattle,
$1 trillion.
like in Seattle,
They
there's a lot.
apparently do. There, I just looked up Islamic holidays, and there's Laylat al-Raghib, December 22nd.
Nice.
It's a holiday. The Night of Wishes. It's an event celebrated by a majority of Muslims throughout the Islamic world. December 22nd.
It's a cool name.
Yeah.
The Night of Wishes.
I don't.
Wish
Yeah.
well.
I don't
wanna-
celebrate that.
Goats carrying a rug.
I celebrate Christmas.
Nick,
Yeah,
Instead of
right.
a sleigh.
a shout out to Nick Shirley for doing the doc, but I wanted to give Nick some unsolicited advice. I saw you posted on Twitter. I ended Tim Waltz. That's ego. You're just a piece of a puzzle that's moving us towards transparency, which you're an amazing piece. But he inevitably would have stepped down if this stuff came to light. You did push the envelope, but don't feel like you're the one. You know, we're part of like
Well,
if you believe in God,
he was the
we're
one.
kind of
Yeah. and my-
conduits for
so
it.
I'll say a few things. My first was, it is true, but tone it down a little bit. You know what I mean? Like tweeting in all caps, I ended Tim Waltz is like,
Little braggy.
You're right, and I'll give you credit for that because it is true. But be a little bit more
Yeah, it's
No, you know
magnanimous.
what?
He's hype right now. He's
he's hype.
he's a year younger than me. I had his back in Chicago.
Yeah.
We were at a protest in Chicago. We had each other's backs going around there. He's a good kid. I mean, he doesn't
Dude,
smoke.
I
I'm
couldn't-
sorry. If you
He
scalp,
got a little hype.
If you scalp a governor, you can self-glaze. I
you
have no
can
problem.
glaze
like
a little bit.
I think of the
You know what? Sometimes you gotta hype yourself up. a little
Yeah.
bit.
like the we stand on the shoulders of giants is an important thing to remember, and like
I take it
some
back.
people we couldn't do any of what we did if the people before us didn't kind of bring us up to where we started.
I take it back. Tweet it again. Gen Z needs to see this. I was saying this about Nick Shirley before when the video went viral. Like, Gen Z needs to know that the American dream is real.
So true.
Nick Shirley, 23 years old, took a camera, went around and filmed this thing, and got 150 some odd million views. The president's talking about him. A governor just resigned from his race because of what Nick did. Nick, say it more. I want every young Gen Z guy to see Nick Shirley saying that, and I want y'all Gen Z guys to ask yourselves why you're not doing
It is
the
a
same
form
thing.
of pride, and pride in the right time and place is great. In Catholicism, it's a sin, but in America, it's like a national virtue. So you do want to be like, hey, everyone, I did this good thing now. Look,
We just
but just don't get obsessed
We
with
just
it.
have mobs of Zoomers filming daycares.
Bro, wait, but
Everyone's getting arrested.
That's
It's like,
literally
no,
happening.
no.
Are you kidding?
Well,
I
Cam's
know, but
doing
they're
Have
just
you
like
seen-
filming. It's like,
No,
sir,
have
this
you-
is a daycare. You
No,
gotta
no.
go.
Tate, have you seen there's like 70 videos of Gen Z men and women going to daycares and filming them?
Just filming
There was
kids.
one. There was one.
No,
the
they're
girl
going
opened
to
up-
these daycares with no kids in
No,
them.
I
Yeah.
agree. I know. I
And
just love the
all
idea.
these videos are going to go viral.
Yeah.
They're going to Ohio. They're going to Washington. Bro, they're finding a lot of this fraud all over the place. I got to be honest. I do think it's fair to say, to a great degree, this country is the fraudsters in politics, which include Democrats and Republicans, and the hardworking rubes. There's a guy right now, listen to this show. I see you, Bill. You just got home from work. You put on IRL. You put in your full day's work, and you're wondering what you got to do to be able to feed your kids as the inflation is getting worse. You're the rube. We're the rube. You're doing the hard work and paying the taxes, and the scammers are defrauding everybody and taking our money for these schemes.
Did you see the people talking about not paying taxes this year? It was like a big movement. They're like, "This the national don't pay taxes movement," and it's like,
yeah, but that's every year.
Okay,
I'm
this
not,
one was
I'm not
big.
kidding. No, I'm not
It's
kidding.
like-
Every year there's a group saying tax strike.
It's like Storm Area 51. It's like everyone says it and signs up, and no one actually does
Yeah,
it.
well, because
I
taxes
can't even
are automatically deducted for most people.
yeah, literally.
What are you going to do? You're going to be like, give
Quitting
me
my
money
job.
back.
but I think it's stemming from the frustration of being like, bro, I've been bankrupting myself, paying you a third of my income, and now you're just letting billions go, like 20% of it. What the fuck? Like, you want me to participate in this when you're doing this to me? I get it. I see where it's coming from. But at the same time, if we stop funding the system, everything will fall apart. So we really shouldn't do that.
I just love the idea, just a dude outside of a daycare, like a packed daycare, he's filming, and they're like, sir, and he's like, I'm getting rid of the governor.
Oh, also, I want to shout out Nick Shirley, who's like James O'Keefe level status right now. And I love you, Nick. So thanks for.
Yeah, there was
Thanks
a
for doing
video
what you're
of
doing.
one of the daycares. It was super funny. The girl opens up the door and she has black eyed and like she has been beaten up, wearing a hijab. And she's like, "Oh no daycare. I don't know what you're talking." Like they can't even speak English, and they're running
That was
daycares.
like a Latina accent that you just did.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
don't
I don't
know.
think they talk like that.
No, they talk a little more like Muhammad Jihad.
Yeah, small X, actually.
Actually, it would be the greatest thing ever if like someone went to one of these Somali daycares and the lady came out clearly like a Somali woman in hijab, and she's like, "What can I do for you? Ain't nothing going on here."
No.
Be like, and I'd be like, "Okay, she can stay."
No, but with the
You get your
Mexicans, it
daycare.
would
I
be
like
like a lawn care business that they're defrauding with.
There's,
Well,
no,
but
there's
here-
no mowers in here.
I'll tell you guys what's the scariest thing about all of this is the daycare stuff is just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
It's the daycare story's been on for a decade. We've known about the fraud. CBS, like I mentioned, already reported that there were like 96 indictments 4 or 5 years ago. So what Nick did was, you know what I love about this, and I don't want people to take this as like a negative towards Nick, but there was a story we all knew about, and no one just went and filmed it. Like the story's been around for years, and Nick was like, "I'm gonna go film it," and it's kind of like you sit there and go, "How come nobody did that?"
It's true.
You can
You
just
know?
do things.
You can just, and that's what the message I want Gen Z to understand is, you might be looking at a story right now and everyone's like, "Oh, we all know about the fraud." Yeah, and then Nick decided, well, why don't I go and film it? No one did. There is opportunity for Gen Z guys, for Gen Z ladies. You can just do these things. And you know what? People have asked me, like, how do you do news reporting? Like, I should travel around and do all this stuff. And I'm like, you just go. You literally just buy a plane ticket and go and be there and witness it and film it. And then people will ask you what you saw. You can do that.
I went to Occupy Wall Street. I was just like, I'm just going to go. I just got in my car and drove there. It was one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. So if something is going, go. If you feel it, that pull, even a little, go.
It's so true.
Let's jump to this story we got from the New York Post. Zoran Mamdani's new NYC tenant advocate called to seize private property and blasted home ownership as white supremacy.
Yeah.
There's a video going viral, and it's very obvious what Zoran was going to do and what he wants to do. This woman thinks you shouldn't be allowed to own property.
Yep.
She thinks you're a white supremacist for owning property. You know, part of me just desperately wants the people of New York to experience this, but I also know that it won't stop there. So, yeah, we can't let it happen. I will also add the funniest thing about Zoran Mamdani getting, he's becoming mayor. They just raised the fares on buses.
Yep.
Right,
$3.
right when he got, it went up 10 cents. So, like, right when he gets in, they increase the bus fares. Now, everyone's saying, I see these viral tweets of, like, Zoran just raised bus fare. No, he didn't. The bus fare plan was passed a long time ago. The increase in the cost was going to happen whether he got elected or not. But it is still funny that free bus Mamdani gets in and then prices
He's
stick
like,
upward.
free, I have a list, but I meant 3. It's in Arabic. It's different. In Uganda, that's how we say 3.
Well, he's like, I'm from Brooklyn. You misheard me. I didn't say free. I said free.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Free.
So true. I don't know. I like with Zoran, I think one thing that's going to happen, this is going to be a very unpopular take, and I'm saying this as an exiled New Yorker, very right-wing, so I have skin in the game, so to speak. I think primarily what's going to be happening throughout the Zoran era is he's going to be rage-baiting conservatives like as much as he possibly can, and I think the most consequential result of Zoran's New York City, so to speak, is just more vape shops open, and the city just slowly gets worse. I think he is actually kind of part of the managed decline. My
Yeah.
case for this is because New York City is actually driven by the city council. So you saw like Zoran rolled back all the Eric Adams executive orders. That's all he can really do from the mayor's office. Like most of this is going to be him rage baiting, him agitating, because he knows that if he can sort of become like a boogeyman for the right, so to speak, which it wouldn't even really be a boogeyman because he is a legitimate threat, that legitimizes him. That legitimizes him in the Democratic Party. And that is really what the attempt is, because what Zoran's trying to do is he's trying to clear that pathway for Democratic Socialists in 28 and 32.
Look at the
to
flags
make
that are
the run
behind
through.
him.
So, like, yeah, I'm not even as concerned about what Zoran's going to do to New York City. Like I said, I think he's primarily should be a rage baiter, because what he's trying to do is catch all the flack from the right wing, so that way he can legitimize his ideology within the Democrat Party. So then someone could become a governor, someone could even become president, with the same ideology as him, because he, swept the mines, so to speak.
Well, what would you say to the idea that the left is actually moving to confiscate property? Because it's not just Mamdani's talk about people that own homes. There's the $1 billion or the billionaire tax that they're trying to do in California, and that essentially will say, look, your property is no longer your own. They're going to go ahead and start saying, look, if you own things, we're going to go ahead and do an audit and set a value. And so there's I think it's like there's 8 trillion or something like that you can get out of the billionaires in the United States. But if you look at the middle class, it's something like $100 trillion worth of value you can get, or something like that. It's some astronomical number. So this is really just a cover to get the policy started, and then to go after the middle class. So the idea that it's going to take from the billionaires, that's just how it starts. And you can look at the income tax as evidence of that. It started at just the top 1%, or it's just the top earners, and it was 1%. Now everybody pays 35-40% of their income.
What Zoran's doing here is he's trying to turn himself into a martyr so he can become a rock star within the Democrat Party. So then a city councilman in Jacksonville that's a Democrat can now advocate for those policies, because that's like Zoran's policies. That's what's actually going on here. So the threat isn't even really to New York City. Like I said, I think the most consequential result of New York City, in the Zoran era, so to speak, will just be like vape shops and whatnot. I think what's going to happen is he is turning himself into a martyr, into this rock star, so he can continue to drag the Democrat Party to the left.
I think you're right that he's looking to drag the Democrat Party to the left, but I don't think that it's an unpopular position in the Democrat Party overall, because someone like Ro Khanna was talking about the billionaire tax in California.
All he's doing is just legitimizing it.
Yeah, and
because and the way to do that isn't by scoring electoral victories. The way to do that is to rage bait the right, to then be viewed as this rock star, to be viewed as this martyr. People on the right do that. People on the left do that. If you can draw the ire of the other party, then what's going to happen is people on the left are going to say, wow, they perceive this guy as a threat. Wow, they perceive this guy as a viable threat to what they're trying to do. We should emulate that.
But the point that I'm making is I'm not disputing your point. I think that but I do think that it's more broad than just Mamdani. I think the Democrat Party is going to continue to push policies like this. I think they're going to say, look, it's time for us to expropriate from the billionaire class. You see people talking about it all the time. People saying, oh, there shouldn't be billionaires. We should take property from blah, blah, blah.
Now,
and if you start that with billionaires, it'll be a decade before they're doing it to everybody.
Let me take y'all boys back in time and talk about poker. So there's a lot of laws in the states that say you can't play poker with more than $10. Now, when I talk to regular people about that, they're like, yeah, it's a fake law that was passed to make it basically say you can't play poker. No. You're wrong. When the law was passed, $10 was a lot of money. So they were basically saying, guys, fine, you can play poker, but so long as you're not playing with $1 million, you can play with 10,000. And for most people, that's more than you'd need. Inflation happens, and now $10 certainly doesn't mean anything. The point is, what's going to happen with New York is they are going to say the millionaires and the billionaires. Guess what? You bought a house, 10 years later, it's worth $1 million. Yeah. You're a millionaire now. And we're going to take your property because you're a millionaire. And you're like, wait, hold on. I bought this property and it was like $300K and I was paying my mortgage off and inflation happened and the prices skyrocketed. And now I own $1 million home. And they're going to say, and you are being forced to sell it, and we're going to take it from you. So the problem is, it's funny. I was watching, I think it was like Seinfeld or something. And it's an early 90s sitcom. I think it was Seinfeld.
I've been watching a lot of Seinfeld.
And someone goes like, he makes 6 figures. And they go, 6 figures? Yeah. I remember when I was a kid, someone making 6 figures was like,
yeah,
whoa.
It was like,
yeah, because
like upper middle.
In 1992, like 100,000 would be the equivalent of like $300K today or something like that.
You could buy a Lamborghini or a Ferrari for $100,000 in like the early 90s. Now they're like $500,000.
Let me look this up. 100K in 1992 to today, because I think it's like double, right?
It's more than that.
More than that.
Yeah, at least.
100,000 in 1992 is $231,000 today. So, if you know somebody who makes 100K, you might be like, "That's a good salary." If you know someone's making 230, you're going like, "Man, you got extra money." That's what it was like back in the day. So, what's going to happen with all of this socialist commie policy BS is that inflation, bro, guys, silver is at like $75.
Yep.
Holy crap! Let me pull this up.
Gold's 4,300.
Oh my, guys, it's the apocalypse. I'm not playing any games. I am meaningless. Totally. Silver at $76.77 terrifies me, and it peaked at 77 and 0.02. That's terrifying. Gold has sat around $20 forever, for decades, and it's rapidly skyrocketing. Now, don't get me wrong. AI machines, self-driving cars, silver is in high demand, and people have been buying it. I'll just say this. We ran promos for silver. I'm not telling you what to do, but the people who bought it are certainly very happy. But it just jumped even higher. My concern with silver going up is just it's the economy going down.
Yeah.
Buying power getting worse.
And then what they could do, with my concern, what they might be doing is prepping for a market crash where they're going to put 80% of their resources into gold and silver. They're going to double the value, and then they're going to crash the economy in half and maintain their wealth while everyone else loses.
Who's they?
50%.
Well, no.
Whoever's
You have it backwards.
instilling
You
the
have it
market.
backwards. They're going to sell all of their silver at the peak,
Oh, yeah, and then crash it.
crash the market, and then buy it all back
And
up.
it's basically the guys that collude to own the majority or a silent majority of the market, like BlackRock. I don't know who. I just imagine, people are involved with deciding when the market's going to crash and when it's going to boom, and have been
It's
for a
at
long
$77
time.
right now. It just spiked.
It's the only time in my
Holy
life I've ever
crap.
seen gold and silver like almost triple in value in a year or double.
Part of that is because of a lot of it is like Tim was saying, it's because of the inflation. When I moved down to West Virginia, I first started doing the show. I was buying an ounce of silver for like $2,200, $2,100. I'm sorry, an ounce of gold. My bad.
We did these promos. I had that stack of silver coins, and I think I bought it for a couple. What was it? $400, and now it's worth like $1,500. That's
I know.
scary.
And it's a type of thing where it's like, I want to be rich, but at what cost? I don't want to hyperinflate the economy now all of a sudden I'm a rich guy.
Well, you're not getting rich. That's the point.
Ian,
Well-
the question is, what does being rich mean?
Yeah,
What-
exactly. Less about the value of money. I want to increase the value of money across the board so we can all kind of thrive.
I'm gonna tell you guys. Andrew Tate had a great point in his viral video where he said, "If you know how much money you have, you're poor." And
I like that.
It's funny because it's true.
Yeah, if you're checking your bank account, that means you
No.
don't have enough.
No,
Or you might
that's-
think you don't
that's,
have enough.
That's not the point. The point is that he has so many investments all over the place, he doesn't know where they are or what they are. He can't even check his bank account. He's like, I invested $10 million in some company somewhere that I own equity in. It's worth 10, 15 million, maybe more. I bought a bunch of properties. It's managed by somebody else. I don't even know what's in it.
Okay.
Like, the point is, if you can open your bank account and look at the number, he says that's poor. Because rich people don't even know where their money's at.
Yeah, at least have 5 bank accounts.
It's not about bank accounts, Ian.
I know. I was being
It's
joking.
about like,
But I think Andrew Tate, that's pilot error on his part. He should know how much money he's got.
you're
mean,
you don't
you're
missing
understand.
the point.
You're
Then
totally
whose
missing
money
the
is it? If he doesn't know where it is, he might as well not
Ian.
have it,
If Andrew Tate hires a wealth manager and says, here's $50 million, invest it. At any given moment, he does not know how much money he has because the investments go up and down.
But the manager could rip him off and he wouldn't know.
Probably not,
that
but
happened
it's
to Con-
possible.
that happened to
I
Kanye,
don't
I
think
think.
Charles Schwab is going to steal his money. I don't think the investment firm is going to steal his money that way. They could. The point is, if he wants to find out how much money he has to schedule a meeting, sit down, pull up the paperwork, go through the portfolio, start calculating values.
It costs him time to find out how much
Exactly.
it's expensive
That's
to
his
find
point
out how much money
about
you get.
rich people don't even know how much money they have. The reason I bring this up is you're talking about, wanting to be rich at what cost, and the question is, what does rich mean?
Yeah, exactly.
When, at a certain threshold of having money, rich means I don't have to worry about the bills anymore.
Yep.
But rich people don't worry about the bills or even worry about their bank accounts. They're literally just like, I'm gonna fly halfway on the road for fun. And if the money, if you've got millions of dollars, just millions, $30,000 private jet, you're not gonna notice that number going down. Whether it goes up or down, oh.
It's sort of like if I invest heavily in a company and then the government prints $1 trillion and pumps that company and I make $1 million, I'm not happy about that because they're destroying my economy to make me rich. That's not the kind of rich I want to be.
My broader point is being rich simply means you control people. That's it.
Starting with yourself. You have the ability to say,
sure,
I'm
but
going
my
to go
point
and
is
do
like
whatever
this.
I want.
If you are as rich as Andrew Tate, what does that really mean? He can have anything he wants. He can look at Elon Musk. He's building starships to go to Mars. That's rich. Rich for Elon Musk, it means he can literally go to a person and be like, within a person's moral boundaries, of course, but he can say, do a thing and I'll give you money. When you are truly wealthy, it means you have control over systems.
Yeah, and health. People have
You
mentioned
can
that.
buy buildings. You can build spaceships. You can send rockets to the moon. If you are wealthy, you can go to 50,000 people and say, I want all of you to start building rocket ships to the moon. And they'll go, okay, that's what being rich means. Because again, can Elon Musk eat the most delicious Wagyu beef ever made? Of course. And that's like the dude's worth $700 billion. How much money does he need to get the best Wagyu steak money can buy? $1,000. That's a rounding error for someone like Elon Musk. So at a certain point, buying things you want is a meaningless term to a rich person. Elon could buy like 7 yachts.
Yeah, I like
He's
this.
I don't need them.
They say wealth is like someone has said it, or at least I thought it, is that it's a combination of having money, having resources, and being healthy. Like if you're not healthy, it doesn't matter what your bank account says.
It's
You
like,
can't
just
go to the
change
moon.
Subject.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, wealth
It's
is
just-
different than rich. Like rich means you have a lot of
point I'm
money.
making, Ian-
Wealthy means that you can actually spend it.
No.
Yeah.
Rich people don't spend money. Like, again, I actually think I appreciate this conversation, Ian, because you're exemplifying how the average person doesn't understand wealth.
Dude, no, wealth and rich are not the same thing. That's what my point is right now.
My point is you saying all of these things, you truly don't understand what it means to be wealthy.
Do you understand what it is to be happy? I mean,
Of course.
Of course. I know what it means to be wealthy.
You don't.
It's different than it means that people love you, you have a family, you have friends, and you're fucking loaded. That's wealth.
So my point is, a wealthy individual doesn't think about money at all. They don't go to a restaurant and say, how much does it cost? You want to know if you're at a high-end restaurant, there's no prices on the menu. And so you go to I can't say these steakhouses that pretend to be fancy. They have dress codes. That's not it. You go to a steakhouse and they hand you a menu. You can wear whatever you want as long as you don't smell bad. They hand you a menu with no prices on it. That's how you know you're where rich people eat. I went to a restaurant that looked like an old mansion, and the room they served us in was a study. Is the weirdest thing. And the menus didn't have prices on them because rich people don't care. They don't even think. You could tell them the steak's $1,000 and they'd be like, I didn't ask.
Dude, it would take more energy to calculate the cost than it's worth. Like it would wear you out to the point where I can't make that extra $700,000 later because I'm tired from thinking about the price. I don't even think about that stuff.
So that's like someone like Elon Musk, when he goes to buy equipment, I doubt. Obviously when he's building a spaceship, he's like, what's the total cost of building a ship? They're going to it's going to be like $33 million. That's a number he's going to look at. If he needs to buy a laptop, he doesn't ask him how much. He doesn't make a budget. He literally just says, give me the best of everything. And the amount of money it costs him, he doesn't even notice.
I think that wealth also, you start to think in terms of percentages instead of dollar values. Like what percentage of my wealth can I expend to gain how much more percentage growth?
Yes, but also understand this. Rich people don't spend money. My point is, if Elon Musk buys a mansion, he's losing nothing. If you rent, you're losing money. Working class people and people of modest means, not even poor people, spend money and it's gone. Rich people spend money and they keep it and get more for it. If Elon Musk says, I'm going to buy the biggest mansion in Hollywood, he keeps every penny he spent. And then a year later, the value's increased and he only made more money by buying something. There is a level at which you buy things and you get more for it. Whereas for poor people, you buy a car, the value goes down. You lost money. You buy a cheeseburger, the money's gone forever. You pay your rent, the money's gone forever. You buy a house, you're paying fees to a bank, it's gone forever. Rich people never spend, they're only investing.
I tweeted out earlier, I'm less concerned with making money and more concerned with increasing the value of money. because it's very like this goes back to now you're a millionaire because of inflation. Now you're going to be taxed like that. Like,
what is it that you're doing to increase the value of money?
like reduce the costs across the globe, like reduce the cost of roads, reduce the stress on roads by making them last longer, or reduce the
Ian,
cost of
Ian
the
you're doing?
Understand
deflation takes the
the
economy.
value of things is predicated upon the willingness of another individual to provide service, labor, or resources. The problem with the liberal argument of raising the minimum wage is that you're still in the same position of, Ian, ask me to sweep the floors.
Please sweep the floors, Tim. Can you?
No.
Oh.
You have to pay me more money than is imaginable because I don't have time for that. I'm busy. So if you want Tim Pool to come in and sweep your floors, there's a number. To be honest, for someone like me, there probably isn't because I'm wealthy and successful.
What if my floor is filthy?
I will sweep the floor if my floor is dirty and I want it swept. My point is, when you increase the minimum wage, nothing has changed. Money represents nothing.
Ooh, in that sense, the term millionaire and billionaire is almost like a red herring. Like we probably should cease.
What I'm saying is, the better question to ask on minimum wage stuff is, excuse me, sir, random guy, I need you to clean the floors of my building and I will pay you. When he says, how much will you pay me? He's not actually concerned about the number of dollars. The underlying principle is, what can I get for my labor? So when the Democrats are like, increase the minimum wage, nothing will change. Now, an individual might say, that sounds great because if I had 15 instead of $10, I could buy an extra cheeseburger. The problem, the man who makes the cheeseburger still wants the same amount of time and energy for his work. The dollar value is meaningless. So when we talk about having money and spending it and making money more valuable, when you mention we should cut costs and make money more valuable, if you do that across the board, it's meaningless. The amount of labor an individual requires of you will stay the same.
Except on the international scale, it makes the U.S. dollar more competitive globally.
If the U.S. economy improves or foreign economies tank, then yeah, we can convince people to work for cheap. That's always it, right? So we go to countries that are poor and say, we'll pay you dirt to do it because it's the best you're going to get. So yeah. The issue of wealth and the main point of this conversation, especially with like the silver stuff, and we got off on a tangent because of the silver, because it's freaky, is rich people. What does it mean to be wealthy? It means you have control of other people. That's it. It means you want a building? You want a giant warehouse with a skate park in it? Can you convince someone to do that work? What do you have to do to tell a guy something so that he will start building something for you?
Yeah, because money alone can't get it done. If they hate you, they'll seize your bank account. Like
It's not just that. If you are, there was some TV show. What was that movie where the football guy knocks the guy over and kills the sick kid? You didn't see this one?
no.
I don't know.
There's a football player. I think he's a football player, and he's like a dick. And a guy is like, my kid's a big fan. He has cancer. And then the guy tells him to F off, shoves him. He falls. And then they're like, you're off the team. He was a big shot. Thought he was all rich, but everyone hates him. I can't remember. I don't know. The chat probably knows. The point is, if everyone hates you, no amount of money is going to help you.
Yeah.
You're going to be like, I'll pay you $1,000 to build a chicken coop. And they go, no, screw you. And you'll be like, $2,000? No, I said, screw you. If they don't let you into their business, you can't buy the coffee from them. Money doesn't matter. The point is, Elon Musk has so much money, he can literally just, I mean, bro, the dude can get some of the most, I got to be honest. Phil, is there a number by which Elon Musk could pay you to put on a tutu and do like a ballerina dance in the middle of Times Square for a week?
You guys are getting paid?
It's a big number. It's a big number.
What if he was like, I'll give you $1 billion?
$1 billion?
$1 billion.
Oh yeah, probably yeah.
My point is not that it's an
I'd be
easy thing to
twirling.
do because they'd be like, what market value is this? My point is Elon can get a lot of people to do a lot of things. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, that's wealth. Wealth is Elon being like, I want Tim Pool to clean the floors of my bathroom. And I'm going to be like, well, I don't need to because I'm already rich. Do you have $1 billion? I'd be like, I got to be honest. Elon, for $1 billion,
Take an hour.
I'll use a toothbrush.
Yeah,
Like,
take
tell
an
me
hour.
what to do.
It's gonna shine.
There are certain things, obviously, money can't buy. Cleaning a bathroom is the easy thing that's considered degrading to a lot of people, but not amoral. Like, I wouldn't do something illegal or evil. But Elon could very easily make people do evil things because he has so much money.
Oh, yeah. Dude,
That's
if I had
wealth,
his
man.
money, I'd be like covering like countries in peanut butter and stuff. Like I'd be moving like crazy.
I would drop deodorant on India. Like, it'd be insane.
That's just
I mean,
cruel.
the point of the point of this whole thing is once you have a certain amount of money, then your money's going to make money to the point where you could never spend what you've made. You know, like
Oh yeah,
These poor guys.
Like there's no reality where Elon's ever poor.
no, you know.
Because like, and I mean this. Imagine the U.S. government says we're going to seize all your assets. China goes, we'll give you anything you want, because he's because of his ability. They're gonna, like, any other rival nation will be like anyone. They're gonna compete for him. They're gonna be like, we want you to build rockets for us instead. That's nothing you can do about it.
Elon could just buy 3 or 4 meals in an airport and he'd be bankrupt.
Yeah, true.
Dude, that's where you get suckered.
$300 billion sandwiches at the airport.
Just getting close. Buy a bottle of water there.
You go down to Nashville and you buy a beer, you're broke.
Yeah, it's over.
I was at an airport once, and I went to, like, they had one of those sandwich, like, one was like deli coolers where you can get drinks and sandwiches all pre-made. And I grabbed a sandwich and I put it on the counter with like an unsweet tea. And the lady looks at me and she goes, the clerk, like the employee, she goes, that's $10. And I was like, okay. And I pull out my card and she goes, no, that's $10. And then I was like, okay. She's like, I'm just letting you know. I'm like, do you want me to get 2? Like, the employee herself was shocked and needed to let me know how terrifying it was. The sandwich was $10.
Yeah.
Like, that's airport purchasing.
It's ridiculous.
It's like $20 for on an airplane. It's like $20 for 2 shooters.
Literally. I'm
like,
like,
what?
you order, like, did I just get robbed?
Yeah.
Like, you feel like violated.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we're going to go to your chats and Rumble rants. So smash the like button, share the show with everyone you know. And I mean it, call up Grandma and say, Grandma, are you watching Timcast IRL? And maybe you've got a niece or a nephew. They're old enough. Now, I'm not saying little kids. They're not going to understand what's going on. They're going to say, that? I'm saying you call, like, you got some young adults and you're like, you guys should be watching this program. Spread the word.
Get it.
Before we get into all that, though, we got a great sponsor for you. It is joincrowdhealth.com. My friends, it is open enrollment, the season where health insurance companies hope you'll blindly sign up again for overpriced premium. You don't got to change the camera. It's fine. Overpriced premiums and confusing fine print. Don't just take someone else's word. Trust yourself and take control of your future with Crowd Health, the healthcare alternative for people who make their own decisions. It's healthcare for under $100. You get access to a team of health bill negotiators, low-cost prescription and lab testing tools, as well as a database of low-cost, high-quality doctors vetted by Crowd Health. And what if something major happens? You pay the first $500, then the Crowd steps in to help fund the rest. It feels like the options we used to have before Obamacare messed everything up. And of course, you'll join the Crowd, a group of members just like you who want to help pay for each other's unexpected medical events. The system is betting you'll stay stuck in the same overpriced, overcomplicated mess. And this year, it's even more complicated because most of the ACA subsidies expire, which means your prices are going sky high. So far, Crowd Health members have saved over $40 million in healthcare expenses because they refuse to overpay for healthcare. This open enrollment, take your power back. Join Crowd Health to get started today for $99 for your first 3 months using code TIM at joincrowdhealth.com. That's joincrowdhealth.com, code TIM. Crowd Health is not insurance. Opt out. Take your power back. It's how we win. And for everybody else, my friends, let's go into your Rumble rants and super chats and see what y'all have to say. We got Token MAGA. He says, hey, Lance, how did those 2 losses to the Blackhawks feel?
2 losses?
Yeah.
I'm confused on what
You're
you're
wearing
talking
a
about.
Dallas Stars
Yeah,
jersey.
you're not
Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, we're a really good team. We have the most competitive teams that are in our area. So, yeah, I've seen the Blackhawks lose to the Dallas Stars in person before, so I wouldn't be talking. All right.
I think I love about the NHL is like half of the teams are Canadian and they haven't won a Stanley Cup in like 4
Yeah,
years.
yeah, right. We
So-
call them the Blackhawks down in Dallas.
Let's
so,
go.
Yeah.
I love the Blackhawks in the 90s. Big Jeremy Roenick fan. I played a lot of NHL 93, NHL 94.
You like the
OG.
Blackhawks back in the 90s? You had
Yeah.
a little,
Yeah,
you had a little
whoa.
weird past. there,
Balfour.
huh? Whoa, what's going on?
I like the Blackhawks over Vietnam.
Ooh.
All right, we got our sergeant. It says, I'm super curious why lefties so often happen upon opportunities to do real damage and fall short almost every time. I am very scared because the effective ones we see really ain't done ish yet. I mean, we had like a bunch of Christian school kids murdered by a trans person. We had 2 attempts on Donald Trump. Charlie Kirk is dead. They've done a lot of damage. I mean, you had the murder of Aaron Danielson. Yeah, it's pretty scary. The point is, you don't see the other way around. Liberals aren't being shot and killed.
Yep.
I don't want them to be. Good. The point is, it's liberals doing it. That's the problem. Or I shouldn't say liberals, but like left-aligned political people. All right, let's see. Pims the Great says, hey, Tim and crew, been a fan since the Kavanaugh hearings and see every video. In reference to your morning segment, when someone tries to introduce you to their wireless hole puncher, you reciprocate. Indeed. Now, be wary about which state you are in, but the point is you are legally allowed in almost every jurisdiction to defend yourself if someone is shooting at you. That, I think, is fairly obvious. All right. Acid Floyd says, more dictators need to be delta'd for the meme industry alone. It's been comedy gold. I get more entertainment from 3 hours of Maduro memes than Marvel blockbuster movies.
It's true.
So true.
You know, and I will add this. Did you guys hear that Marvel, the Avengers Doomsday movie is basically erasing the last 6 years of Marvel?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Good. I'm done with all that
Exactly.
crap.
Finally,
Disgusting.
a good Marvel movie.
It's
Well,
disgusting.
the point is like they went woke right before Endgame with Captain Marvel. That's when all the activists started tainting everything. And so they get Captain Marvel in Endgame. And Endgame had that really cringe moment where Thanos headbutts Captain Marvel and she doesn't flinch. And the audience groaned in my theater. From there, they've done a whole bunch of dejected, weird garbage that made no sense.
Even in the other scene in Endgame where like Peter Parker, literally Spider-Man, gets saved by all the women and they're
Yep.
like just walking in slow. It's like, oh,
Exactly.
are you shitting me? Like, really? Are we doing this right now?
So what happened is apparently Marvel is the new Avengers movie next year or end of this year is a sequel to Endgame. Yeah, they're basically largely ignoring all of the stuff they've done. And the reason why is the last universally seen Marvel movie was Endgame.
Yeah.
So they realized
No Way Home too. That was probably the last one.
maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
Most people aren't watching any of their stuff and they hate it all. And it was weird activist-y garbage. So now they're basically like, let's go back in time and erase everything and start from scratch.
Let's see him do that.
Give
with the Star
Bucky the
Wars
shield.
franchise.
The villains just wait for Captain Marvel to get pregnant and
Yeah.
they make their move.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
That Muslim one too. What's her name? She's like, I'm a Muslim and whatever. What's
Oh,
that?
yeah, Miss Marvel.
Yeah, Miss Marvel.
There's a
It's like-
Muslim Marvel.
she's yeah.
Miss Marvel.
Yeah, Miss Marvel.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
The problem is the actual Miss Marvel character, she can grow and shrink. She's kind of like Mr. Fantastic. And then in the Marvel show, they were like kind of whack. So she can just like project hard light.
Yeah, it was
So
weird.
she technically grows, but she just makes like
Yeah,
stones or
It's
something.
just Jubilee.
ridiculous.
from the
No,
X-Men.
Jubilee was way better than that. She could split atoms.
Oh, that's what it was.
Yeah, didn't
Yeah,
she like charge
Jubilee's-
particles and
No, Jubilee's power was she could cause atomic fission, and it manifested in explosions, so she could shoot like
Yeah.
atomic explosions at you.
that was cool. She's kind of like Gambit, similar to Gambit.
Gambit's-
could charge
Gambit's
and blow.
awesome.
Yeah, Gambit's crazy.
He was my favorite in the 90s.
Kinetically
He
charged.
just uses cards as the conduit for it. It's
Yeah.
like
He's so
it's so
badass,
slick.
dude.
It's like,
But they've done cool stuff with Gambit's powers in Marvel
Oh,
comics.
he's so good.
We'll see if they can get back on track. That's for sure. Let's grab some more of these rants. WD Production says, welcome back. Missed y'all. Crazy start to the year. Can I get a shout out for Heroes Never Alone and my book on Amazon, Arm Wrestling Roulette? Shout out. Thanks for the Rumble rant, brother.
Arm
Missed you
wrestling
too,
roulette.
man. I
Check
miss
it out.
doing this.
Jay
I'm glad to be
Dirtbiker says
back.
the biggest W is oil in our hemisphere will no longer be going to power the war machine of our adversaries. This is America first. Good riddance. This is, bro, the amount of people that are pro-America conservative who are like, you know what? I've changed my mind. We shouldn't be doing anything about Venezuela is kind of shocking.
Yeah, because if Trump had been like, we should not invade Venezuela, those same people very well could be like, yeah, we should not invade Venezuela. I'm all in.
They'd be like,
bro.
they'd be if Trump came out and said, no, we're not going to do anything about Maduro, all the Democrats would be like, oh, Trump is weak, letting Maduro run rampant.
Yeah, literally.
Trump's only mistake with the Venezuela thing was when the planes were about to enter Venezuelan airspace, he should have tweeted out, Maduro needs to be left alone. Venezuela's its own country. And then all the Democrats would come out and be like, I can't believe he would let this happen. And then an hour later be like, oh, okay, we got him.
Yeah.
And then they'd be like,
Yeah, they always accuse him of cozying up to like despots, and then when he actually bombs one, then they have this like sudden problem with it.
No kings.
And then also like something else is this is like a direct economic hit to Russia and Iran because, and it's indirect because when you drop oil prices, when you flood the global economy with Venezuelan oil, all that's going to do is drive the price of oil down. What is Russia's primary export? Oil. What is Iran? Oil. So these two countries that are completely dependent on oil in many ways are now going to not be, they're going to have to play ball with whatever the global oil price is, and it's going to completely crush them.
David Flora says, Benny Johnson tweeted about not paying taxes. Did he really?
A few people, I think Savannah Hernandez did.
Yeah, a lot of people are
and these
PO'd
people,
about
a
it.
lot of people aren't, and then there's gonna be some people online that take these people at their word, and then they won't pay their taxes, and they're gonna get arrested.
See, I would love to pay my taxes if we start kidnapping more communists.
yeah.
I'll be like, yeah, here's my money. Go take out freaking Zoran Mandami next. Go kidnap him. No, I'm kidding. But-
Where when was this like trend on the tax? Benny
Oh.
being a wealthy individual, I can't imagine him not paying taxes.
Yeah, it's
Like
a big,
you're the first target.
I think it was like a week and a half ago or a week ago.
Yeah, what's the strategy? It's like we finally got like our guy in the presidential office. Let's just like starve him. It's
yeah,
like, what?
that's pretty dumb, actually.
Yeah.
No,
Like,
I
it's great.
understand like the problems of all the fraud going on and the war and all the BS. Like I don't mean the war. I mean like war BS. Our money is being taken and is fraudulently given away to garbage. But like, I don't think the solution is to go to prison. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, literally.
Or-
It's like, yeah,
or-
just remove yourself from the table. By
And it's not the
going to jail.
solution to destroy the world either, like destroy the United States because you hate it so much by defunding it. Like that's also not. We're supposed to have redress of grievances, which we've sort of lost, which is unfortunate.
we
So
have
I get
courts
it.
and we go through the courts all the time.
Yeah, but as people, when your government is doing, bowing to the corporations' whims instead of the people's whims, 95% of the time, I understand the frustration.
Every single case that the Supreme Court hears that they hear in favor of or decide in favor of the person, the civilian or whatever, like that's the people using the court system for redress of grievance.
Yeah. I just want to say to the audience, please pay your taxes. If you're watching the show, you're a smart person. We do not want you going to jail. We need you in the fight. Don't LARP. LARPing gets people killed.
The idea
Thrown
that
in
like
jail, so.
could you every Trump supporter like not every, but they're all like this big movement among conservatives being like, we're not going to pay our taxes, and then next year it's like 17,833 conservatives arrested and put in prison.
Trump
And none of the commentators.
I think only a couple months ago was like, I think I want to get rid of income tax and we'll pay for it with the tariffs. And so people are probably like kind of hoping that it's actually going to happen, and he's giving them some
What if Trump just came out like on April 14th and was like, no taxes by executive order. Just if you already filed, you're getting your money back, and refunds for everybody.
Just this year, we'll rename 2025 to Trump. It's the
I mean, I gotta be
2024
honest, if,
Trump.
I think Trump should. I think in October, all the Republicans should come out and say we're abolishing the income tax, and Trump should come out and say vote for Republicans and there will be no income tax. Democrats will be like they're lying, and Republicans will be like no, we're not, and people are gonna be like I'm voting for them. I gotta be honest, they're probably lying, but here's your choice: vote Democrat, vote Republican. Republicans are claiming they're gonna get rid of taxes. Are they gonna? Probably not. But hey, I'll buy that lottery ticket, right? Yeah. Wouldn't you?
I don't want the regime that was in power in 2020 to get back into power. I do not want them to undo.
So you agree?
Yeah, I would be down to see the Republican Party lie to people to get elected again. At this point, I can't.
My point is they shouldn't lie. I'm saying I wouldn't trust them if they claimed they were going to get rid of income tax. Like Trump has said this. My point is, if it's a lottery ticket's chance they would, I'll buy that lottery ticket.
Yup.
If there is a 0.00002% chance the Republicans would actually get rid of it, and there's a 0% chance Democrats would, I'd vote Republican.
I'm sort of almost desperate about. I think World War III is about to start. I don't know why, but I'm feeling this like, oh God, and people are smiling and dancing about taking Greenland, and
Clip
that
that.
if the Democrats were in power, we would lose the war. So and that's not just the Democrats, but someone like Joe Biden or Kamala. Like no. Trump and Pete Hegseth are at least warrior minded, especially Hegseth. So he terrifies the globe. You need that force.
Let's grab some super chats. We got Wolf. He says, "Hey Tim, have you been keeping up with Skybrows, the guy who did the Elon Musk and Joe Rogan song? Last few videos, they're fantastic. I've listened to Cream of the Slop like 100 times. We'll check it out in the uncensored portion of the show. But for those that aren't familiar, there's a song called Elon's Musk on YouTube by Skybrows. It's amazing. It's a Grok AI made music video with like a synthwave song, I guess.
Yeah.
And it's really good.
I like it a lot.
Good.
I've never heard of it.
It's
Sounds
long.
It's real good.
After about
It's like
3 minutes, I'm
three
like,
and a half, 4 minutes.
yeah, I'm like, I've heard it after about 3 minutes because I don't think there's 3 parts. Are there 3 parts? We got to listen to it again to know.
Bro, but the lyrics are just so good.
I know.
Yeah.
On
And then
repeat.
I'm in Joe's Rogaine. Yeah. Like there's an AI cameo from us at this Timcast studio. And yeah.
Oh, the
It's good
song's
stuff.
called Joe's Rogaine?
Yeah.
Okay.
Elon's Musk and Joe's Rogaine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cream of the slop. I don't know what that is. All right. Jay's Index says, Tim, Jason Dix says, Tim, while in Florida, make sure you adhere to the Florida law, the Waffle House Hurricane Code. It's a thing. If Waffle House closes down, you got to go.
Get out of town.
Yeah. Right. So when I was here like 10 years ago, maybe it was about 10 years. No, it was a little bit over 10 years ago when there was like a hurricane scare. And I don't think the Waffle House is closed down.
Oh, wow.
And so I was like, I guess I'm going to be here for a hurricane. And so I got a hotel, and then the hurricane actually started to turn and went the other way.
They knew.
Yeah.
So it's
But
Waffle
people were
House
trying to
causing the
evacuate.
hurricane.
Like-
Waffle House controls the weather.
yeah.
Dude, like,
That's what they're doing.
like FEMA themselves uses the Waffle House Index.
Those tunnels in New York that they were building connect Waffle Houses together.
Oh, that's true.
That's right.
It's true.
That could be
It's all
it.
connected.
That's right. That mattress stain, someone spilled a Waffle House bean.
That's true.
Syrup.
A guy from Waffle House crapped the bed.
Remember that story? They were like, why is the mattress stained and why was it underground?
Yeah.
Well, it's like every time you see a video of Hasidic Jews, they're always freaking out.
Yeah. That's
Like, I don't know what's going on, but like every time I've seen a video, there's always just chaos. Like they're running around. You ever see the videos of them running across the street during
Yeah.
the marathon?
Yeah.
Like they're just always freaking out.
Yeah.
That was one of the best videos I've ever seen.
Wait,
in my
what's
entire life.
this? Unit Glue says Demon and Portal spotted at AmFest 2025 on the background screen. It's on the 8-hour vid at 3 hours and 43 minutes and 40 seconds, just before Brittany Aldean goes on stage. You want to look that up?
Was that now?
8-hour Turning Point video, AmFest video.
Which day is it?
Yeah, I don't know. He didn't say.
You imagine the
You gotta
graphics.
say which day.
Look up Brittany Aldean.
Yeah, look up Brittany.
The graphics guys.
I
Like,
highly
hey, by
doubt-
the way, we're gonna do Demon Portal this year.
That's
Can
insane.
you get working on that for us? It's like, isn't that a little on the nose? It's like, yeah, but it's like an Easter egg. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I used to work for Turning Point. They did not.
It's an actual demon portal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Believe it or
There's
not.
no way.
Did you find the Brittany Aldean?
I'm looking.
I'm
Eight,
Bill.
the 8-hour. See, buddy, you know, you got to be more specific. You got to tell us the name of the video so we can search for it. Otherwise,
Yeah,
we just
Concision.
can't find it.
Helps a lot
Demon
with super
portal,
chats.
That's wild.
We'll
The
play.
portal
We'll,
to
we'll pull it
Agartha.
up for the uncensored portion of the show.
Let's go.
Wow.
Great portal. Great people.
I love the White Monster.
I've always loved the
Listen,
Agarthans.
they call me the White Monster.
Agarthans, a lot of oil.
Wow.
We're gonna take it.
I heard they're in a snowy
Oh,
area.
we got a story for the uncensored portion of the show that I can't even mention. I can only passively mention, and I have to tell you guys not to talk about it. We're gonna save it for the uncensored. But there's a viral video from a bathroom. Have you seen it?
No.
I don't think
There's
so.
a trans person in a bathroom.
No, I don't.
Oh, yes, I did see
Serge
that, yeah.
apparently
And
has.
we can't talk about what the video is, but it is
nasty.
horrifying.
I'm so amped.
And but a
Serge
woman
is
filmed
like praying.
because people don't believe this stuff happens,
Yeah,
but she
disgusting.
filmed it.
I saw the shadow shit. Yeah.
Right. We'll save
Okay.
it for the uncensored because it's
Not
really.
seeing
No, what I was
anything
gonna
about-
say is that
Phil is saying
we
there's
need
no demon.
Greenland because that's actually Agartha. That's what he's
That's what
talking.
I've heard.
That's
yeah.
what I heard.
No, guys, the ice wall. The Earth isn't flat. The ice wall keeps the inner continents trapped.
Yeah.
Because Tartarian Atlantis, the greater, more advanced humans, used as slaves.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, there has to be a portal outside the ice wall through Greenland.
find
That's why
these-
we
We
need
need a
it.
portal. You just fly over the ice wall.
We find
true.
these super. We go to the Turning Point Amfest next year. Go through the portal to meet these super advanced humans. They're just Koreans.
Have you
Oh,
guys?
what?
Haven't you guys seen Attack on Titan?
No.
Oh,
But you don't
I'm an
anything about that.
uncultured swine.
I've
We're
seen-
basically Attack on Titan.
really.
Yeah,
does
it's
that mean?
Basically.
in the show they think the world ended because gigantic humanoid Titan monsters took everything over and killed everybody. But it actually turns out they're on an isolated island where they're trapped there, and the rest
Oh,
of
I
the
love
world is
that
functioning
shit.
like normal.
That's like the
Oh, that's
the-
wild.
What is it? The Forest, that M. Night Shyamalan movie. I love that where you find out later. Like,
yeah,
oh, it was
yeah.
all messed up.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
that guy doesn't know how to make a movie without a twist in
I
it.
think it was called The
He
Forest.
just can't make a regular movie.
Some of his
It's
movies
a
are
shtick,
good.
though. Ever
The
since
Village. The Village. That's what it's
I
called.
mean, all of his movies are bad. Name a good M. Night Shyamalan movie.
I thought The Village was good. That was Bryce Howard. That was the first time I saw her in a movie. She was great. I thought her
The
performance
Sixth
was good.
Sense was like really good, and then every movie has just collapsed.
I like Signs because of Mel Gibson.
Size.
Seventh sense. Six or
The
seven.
Seventh Sense.
Six or
Six,
seven,
seven
sense. I can't remember
sense?
what the name of the movie.
Do you know how many
was.
senses humans have?
I don't know. At least
That is
6.
incorrect.
Gosh, I knew I was getting set up.
It's always the funniest thing that people say, like someone just told them we have 5 senses and everyone just agrees.
I know. It's so basic.
Gosh, I'm such a sheep.
Yeah.
You can sense so many more frequencies than what you think you can.
And I'm not talking about frequencies, I'm talking about balance.
What about balance?
I'm talking about temperature.
Ooh, temperature.
Oh,
That's a good one.
Humans
heat.
have touch, smell, see, hear, and taste, right? And they said those are 5 senses. We can also sense balance. We can level ourselves out. We can also sense temperature variance. That's 7 already.
Is temperature not touch? A form of
Perhaps,
touch?
but you don't need to touch something to feel temperature. So perhaps.
Yeah, because it's air moving past your skin. They might argue that's touch.
But you can feel heat. So touch, fine, but balance is another one.
Balance is a
There's
good
actually
one.
like a bunch. If you look it up, there's a ton of senses that, and it's kind of like once you read it, you go, oh yeah, like balance is obvious. You have a sense of balance. Yeah, pressure, texture. Yeah, well, texture might be touch though.
Yeah.
But pressure is a good point too.
Because sound is also pressure, so that's kind of
Yeah,
I would
people
say
just say things.
pressure's probably in touch, right? You could feel it.
I love pressure.
technically sound is touch,
Pressure makes diamonds.
which is weird.
true.
I guess it's all touch because your eyes are getting
21.
21 senses.
21 cents.
21.
I like
Sight,
that.
smell,
say it.
sound,
There you
taste,
go.
touch, balance. There's something called external body awareness.
Ooh.
Oh, your sense of like where you are in the room. That
Perhaps.
Sense pressure.
spatial
Oh,
awareness.
external and internal body awareness are considered senses.
That's cool. Spatial
It's
awareness.
like
is how-
Senses DLC. I didn't even realize.
oh yeah, dude, upgrade. It's only $7.99.
Interesting.
Yeah.
The spectrum of senses actually has to do with mental disorders.
That's also
Yeah.
interesting.
People who are suffering from mental disorders based on the various senses. Interesting.
I've always been into extrasensory perception. Does that just encapsulate
33
all of them?
senses. Oh, there's more and there's more.
33.
Dude, they keep dropping new senses.
Hold on, now they're gonna make a new flag,
That's insane.
and it's
So,
going 88
You can buy a
senses.
mystery box and get a new
2026,
one.
yeah, a little loot crate.
Yeah,
Incense
little loot
bullshit.
crate.
You can pack a bunch of scents, get a better one.
Yeah, actually it's like a battle pass for senses.
Depending on how you break it down, vision vision can be broken down into different senses. Color. Not only can you see movement, but you can see colors as well, and some people can't. So that's an interesting point because if you said sight is a sense, but someone's colorblind, or someone's tone deaf, are you saying they're half sensed? No, they can still see movement, but they can't see color. Some people can see both. Interesting. Pressure.
Pressure.
Serge mentioned. Let's see what else is there. Balance, acceleration.
That's awesome.
We can sense acceleration.
Kind of sometimes because
Yeah.
we're accelerating on the earth right now, but we're desensitized. Literally.
You're talking about getting in a car. And
Yeah,
you feel it
Also, the
going.
car.
Relative
Also, if the Earth was
acceleration.
accelerating, we'd be in trouble.
Wow.
It is constantly accelerating. Even
it's
when you're moving
not.
the same speed, you're technically accelerating to maintain speed. Technically.
Full stomach.
Ooh.
Hunger.
That's okay. I'm listening, but that's like touch, right? Like
Hunger is a sense.
hunger.
I guess technically not though. It's considered an introreceptor. Interoceptor. It's called.
Losing is a sense I don't have it. I have a disorder.
Really?
Yeah, I can't.
Cause
you-
problems.
Well, no, Tate can't. He doesn't know when he loses.
Right.
In
That's
his
why he
mind,
keeps
he's
winning.
always
Yeah,
winning.
I'm
Yeah,
like
true.
constantly taking out.
I can
how you
sense
win.
when
No,
people are.
That's you can't sense wins.
It's the optimist.
Yeah.
I can sense when people are retarded. Like when I saw Candace Owens, I was like, going off.
Totally.
No,
Bro, it's wild that she was like the invasion of Venezuela was for Israel and the Zionists. It's like
radically
what?
crazy. Are you
Yeah.
shitting me? What are you
What,
talking about?
what does that mean?
It was also the French too. No, it was also the French. They were in on it.
yeah.
Like, give me clicks.
I mean, it works.
Say Israel. Give
It's
me
just
clicks.
like maybe we're in the wrong line of work. Maybe you launch a successful show. You just be like on today's episode of Why Jews Are Bad.
But to be honest, I
Yeah.
bet she's under like this undue amount of stress right now, and like has no outlet. Or
you know what we
feels-
should do? I figured it out. We need to do a show where we talk about how the Jews are bad, but slowly every day, what we're actually doing is incrementally changing the definition of Jew. So it's like you start with saying, yeah, that Jewish guy who runs the media thing is a bad guy, but he also likes golfing. Then the next day you're like, so these Jewish guys who go golfing, after a few months, you eventually jumped so many steps, you're now talking about race car drivers. Yeah. And now you're
Right.
like, those race car drivers. And everyone's like, yeah. And they totally forgot they're talking about Jews.
Yeah.
You can just slowly,
You could do that.
we could do that.
Start associating Jewish people with golfing, and then just start talking about golfers. Everyone will assume you're talking about the.
Yep.
Oh,
And
that's
then,
dirty.
and then you actually just drop the innuendo and literally just talk about golfers and start naming like Scotty Scheffler and being like, these golfers.
Yeah.
And then people, they love the content.
Dude,
It's all-
I saw Macron golfing once. So
Yeah, you go NBA players just like Penny Hardaway. It's like, well, you know,
that proves it.
listen, Tiger Woods, he's a golfer. Wow.
great golfer.
It's
Great
the,
Jewish.
they would say the biggest
you know,
golfer.
the Jews love me. They love me a lot. Great
They
people.
like putting balls in holes. Wow, that's crazy.
Jesus.
All right, let's grab another chat here. Ferris McLaren says, Happy New Year, Tim. Hanlon's razor suggests a person is stupid or ignorant on a particular issue or topic and not stupid as a whole. Are there any plans to bring Candace on the Culture War podcast to see if she's dumb or evil on Charlie Kirk? Sunlight is the best disinfectant.
It'd be a great show.
I mean, well, the answer is no, but we could. You know what I mean? I think it's an issue of that's a tough one. She like how difficult it was for her to do the Erica Kirk thing. She's already turned down apparently like tens of thousands of dollars to actually do these debates. So we've not actually considered it. We could. She is like I would have her on the show. It's fine.
If you do put her on the show, can you please put somebody in a French mustache with a baguette just sitting next to her? That'd be
Here's the
hilarious.
issue.
I'll be French as fuck, dude.
The problem with Candace is that she knows she's doing bad, and there's no real conversation to be had with someone who's intentionally doing evil. I'm not saying don't host these people. I'm saying bring her on the show. She would just use manipulation tactics instead of addressing the actual issues. You'd say something and she'd change the subject. Liberals do it all the time.
Yeah, you'd want to not put no one on the
And
defense.
she started
in
her
a combo
career
like
with
that.
doxing conservatives. That's literally what she, so.
All right. K-Dub from the boot says, let me get a job, Tim. I work for a private detention company in security electronics, but I'm tired of working in a prison. I got to be honest. How many people work here who are just super chatters? Like two or three?
At least Raymond G. Stanley Jr.
Raymond and Chuck?
Oh yeah, Charles, dude.
Yeah.
Charles was super. I didn't know that.
Mr. Ballagio.
And then they were just super chatting all the time, so we knew who they were. So when they emailed, we were like, yeah, why not? You know what I mean?
Raymond would call
I'm
in
not
too.
suggesting anybody super chat in order to get a job.
No,
That's not-
but you call in and we talk to you. I mean, that's the best way to get a gig is to
And
know the
networking.
people hiring you. you know?
Yeah, you think
Right.
we're answering questions? We're actually interviewing you.
Well, I'll say this too. Like, we'll hire who we need to hire, but obviously we can only hire the people we know who exist. And so if there's people who are fans of the show, people we've met, people who are members or whatever, and we already know them, not by any legal means, but just by proximity, they're more likely to hear about opportunities. And
I'm gonna beg, please don't call in and ask to work here. I mean, it's a hard thing to say no to over and over
You
again,
should
and it's
tweet
like I
at
don't know.
Ian. That you should tweet at Ian.
Yeah, sure.
Everyone
Ian
tweet
Cro-
your
at Ian
resumes
Cross.
at
I'd love to
Ian.
hire everybody.
all right, everybody, we're going to go to
Not
the
a communist.
uncensored portion of the show. So smash the like button, share the show with everyone you know. You can follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast. Go to rumble.com/Timcast IRL because we got a dark story for you. Some of you are going to get pissed off, but yeah, we're going to talk about it. And then we'll play one of these goofy AI videos. Again, follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast. And good sir, would you like to shout anything out?
Follow me on X and Instagram at Lance Videos. Post a lot of cool stuff. Check me out. It's pretty cool. So
Thanks for coming, dude. I'm at Ian Crossland. Follow me at Ian Crossland all across social media. Go to graphene.movie because the trailer is live. It's a minute long. I'm very pleasantly surprised with it. I'd love to see what you think. Go to graphene.movie. Sign up for the email list, and you'll be getting notified when the movie is live too and how to get it. Graphene.movie. Check it out.
X and Instagram at Real Tate Brown. Come hang out tomorrow on Rumble for the Timcast News live show. I will see you there.
I am Phil the Remains on Twix. The band is All That Remains. We're going on tour this year. We're going to be out in May with Born of Osiris and Dead Eyes. So go get your tickets. You can check out the band All That Remains on Apple Music, Amazon Music, Pandora, Spotify, YouTube, and Deezer. Don't forget the left lane is for crime.
We will see you all at rumble.com/Timcast IRL in about 30 seconds. Thanks for hanging out.